going on? Welcome to Lapeef Sports on Lapeef Network. We got Kyle, Amber, Avon, Jay, Hink, and myself, Lapeef JR. Welcome to Lapeef Sports.
Yeah, that time change ain't mess y'all up.
Oh, I'm very messed up, man.
I'm running.
I went to sleep early,
man.
Yeah.
I got in
That's
early
smart.
last night, so I got me a solid,
That's
night
smart.
little sleep. So,
Man, I actually seen the time when it actually changed. It was,
I did too.
It's
and
crazy.
That scared me.
it was 1:59 and it skipped to 3, and I said, "Damn!" The next
I
you know,
ran
it's
to the
3:30.
bed, dog. I ran to the bed. I ran straight to.
You see, what I'm drinking this morning. You know, I already. I didn't know until I got a notification. I get notifications from the news sometimes, and it's mentioned. And I said, "Damn, lose an hour of sleep." I lost an hour of sleep, and I knew I was going to bed late, so it was. I guess it's around.
And it went so quick because I feel like not too long ago we got that extra hour. That felt so quick, man.
Yeah. I guess I'm the only overhead on the show. So I was 10:30, 11 o'clock. I was in bed. So, I was good.
I'm with you, Hank. Don't worry.
Okay, right on. Welcome to the club.
Oh man, it must be nice. Must be nice.
That's because you was up there with doing the show, I'm sure.
Nah, man. I was actually, man, it was a long story, man. I'm always planning, always thinking ahead and trying to put things in motion. What's up, Logic? Putting things in motion. So, and sometimes I can't sleep. I got to force myself to sleep, man. I'm thinking about Houston and trying to get everything together with that. So if you haven't got your tickets already, go ahead and click that link that's pinned to the top of the chat. April 23rd, we are live in Houston. Come out and have a good time. We're kicking it all weekend, man. Come out and enjoy yourself. Also, shout out to the sponsor, Tej Hanley, as well. That link is pinned in the description. Get 30% off with a free gift. Let's go ahead and click that Lapeef Anton link that you guys see in there. And come on, man. And this shit actually works, man. I mean, I'm not bullshit. You know how you have a product and you be sitting there just thinking it's just, they just saying it just to be saying it. I actually been like really, really, really giving it a shot, man. And it's actually really makes a difference. Because I have oily skin, preferably around the foreheads and the nose. Throughout the day, you can just kind of wipe it, you see. So that wash, it really dries it out for me. And since the weather is getting a little bit warm, I know people are going to be sweating. It's probably a good idea just to kind of wash your face throughout the day, especially if your pores do get clogged up. So it's something, you can just grab, you can keep with you, man, keep a little cloth with you. And then in between you out and about at those day parties or brunches, whatever it is you do, just dip to the washroom, some of that wash on there, man, and go ahead and get it cracking.
Shout out Mr. Logic, but man, why you gonna say Amber look like Courtney's mom? That's Courtney's sister. You dead wrong for this shit. You see that?
too early.
Come on, man. Damn,
Shout out
Logic.
to the chat, though. Shout out to the chat. Thank you,
Shout out to the Green Gang.
Chats too. We really appreciate it.
Well, Courtney is a beautiful woman, so I take that as a compliment.
Well, you a sister, man. Don't say a mother. Hell no, damn.
I don't know how old y'all think I am, but it's it's a compliment.
Okay, I'm looking at it now, and I'm like,
I'm looking at the comment, and I'm looking at her. I'm like, damn, really?
Like, I can see the resemblance. Yeah, I can see it.
I know that's right. It's all
Man,
good.
well, how y'all doing? How was y'all week? How y'all holding up? Great to see everybody looking good, looking fresh, moisturized.
I'm pre-gaming right now, so
I've been using my little hand
already.
Bruh, the St. Patrick's Day parade is behind my house, dog. So as soon as I'm off the air, I'm going outside, dog.
Oh wow,
shit!
Wow.
I know that's right.
So hard, I almost forgot about it.
Man,
what'd you say?
You got that green bird?
Are you out there, Avon? Where you gonna be at?
This is the only time during the year my neighborhood gets together and parties. So I gotta go ahead. My neighborhood don't do nothing. Like
not even a yard sale or nothing.
Chicago, every neighborhood got like a festival or something they do every year. My neighborhood don't do nothing but the Irish parade. So this is our only excuse to be outside.
I'm actually going to go out and just paint up the river green. That's what they do in Chicago. They paint so I'm about to go out there with my camera and take some photos after the show.
Nice.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Well, it was an exciting time in sports this week. It definitely wasn't too boring, unlike Avon's neighborhood. So we could definitely start out with the NFL. There was some big trades, namely one Russell Wilson. He and Ciara have been in the news for everything not football related. So, we finally got some news with him about being on a team, and he is going to the Denver Broncos. It was a pretty big trade in terms of the guys that the Broncos got back. It was a pretty big exchange of hands, and I'm not sure if the Broncos really or if Russell Wilson really won that trade. The Broncos, they have a new coach. They have I don't know if their receiving core is as good as DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So what do you guys think? Is it gonna help his image now? Is Denver an up and coming market to where Ciara can still drop a Instagram post and everybody care about it? Where is this really leaving Russell and his career going forward?
Truth be told, I think he did better by leaving Seattle. And in my opinion, as far as the Denver as a team, I don't know if that was a good move for them. Truth be told, they gave up a lot for a quarterback who's really starting to get long on the tooth. People don't realize how long he's been in the league now. But I don't know if that was a good move on their part because, like I said, they gave up a lot and they need a lot of defensive help anyway because they lost a lot on defense. But I understand the move, but as far as his image, I don't think it's going to take any hit. If anything, it might be better out there in the apps. You always have celebrities always talk about going out there and up in the mountains skiing and enjoying themselves on vacation. So who knows? Maybe we'll see some snow pictures of her making snowmen half naked and something like that. I don't know.
To put it into context, the Seahawks are getting Denver's first and second round picks in each of the next two drafts. They're also getting the 2022 fifth round pick, as well as Drew Lock, tight end Noah Fant, and a defensive lineman Shelby Harris. And all they're sending back is a fourth rounder to Denver, along with Russell Wilson, obviously. So it was definitely a lopsided in terms of the picks that they could get. Russell better stay healthy in order to really make it worth it. And Denver, they still got a lot of holes. They need to shore up their offensive line. They weren't too much better in terms of sacks they gave up. So, and again, their receiving core, I don't know really if it matches up to a DK Metcalf and a Tyler Lockett on their best days. So, maybe Russell Wilson really is that guy, and he lost a lot of trust in Seattle, which is why he wanted to leave in the first place. And I believe the coach that Denver got, they got a lot younger with him too. Pete Carroll isn't necessarily a young guy at all. So,
he's in his 70s.
Yeah, and they just got rid of Vic Fangio, and he wasn't a young guy. So Denver, they definitely went and try to bring some youth into the organization. They still got John Elway kind of running things at the office. So, that pairing too between Russ and John, they may have a little magic and synergy between them. So, from a football standpoint, Denver may have definitely come out on top. Seattle might have come out on top in terms of their opportunities. But, Russell Wilson still has some maybe MVP caliber years left in him. What do you guys think?
I don't know, man. How it starts off. He starts off hot, but then he fades towards the end of the season a lot of times. But, that Noah Fant, I like him as a tight end, man. To me, I would have tried to figure a way out how to keep him. But, you had to do what you had to do. Maybe it was for the salary reasons. I don't know.
Look, man.
You're on mute, Avon. You're on mute.
My bad. From a football standpoint, I think this was a great trade for Seattle and a horrible trade for Denver. They gave up too much. He's 32, going on 33, man. Like, I get it. Quarterbacks are playing a lot longer now because of the rules in place to protect him, but he wasn't staying healthy up there, But I think this is kind of poetic, actually, man, because I'm not the biggest Russell Wilson fan in the world. I think he's always been slightly overrated, and I think the social media aspect of it has hyped him up a little bit more than what he is. I find it ironic because I think Seattle, what they did when he first came on the scene was they traded away their present for the future. So if you follow me on this one, if you remember, they got rid of the Legion of Boom because of Russell Wilson. The Legion of Boom was basically bullying that dude in practice, not respecting him in the locker room because he was giving leadership without earning it. And they was hard on him. So to make things better for him as a quarterback and as a leader, they got rid of all of the Legion of Boom dudes. So you traded away your present for your future, and your future never came, bro. It never came. You never won anything. You never went anywhere. You wasted 5-6 years of this dude's career because you wanted to, coddle a quarterback, and now you got to give him away. Well, no, you stole him. I mean, you're giving them away. You actually stole from Denver. They paid way too much, but it just tells you, man, that the way we look at quarterbacks, they're very important. They take up large amounts of your cap space, but man, people just overpay for the product way too much. Look what they just gave. What was that for Carson Wentz? Like, how does that dude keep a job? Like, seriously.
Do you think that Russell Wilson is going to make some of these guys better? I mean, when you go to the Broncos, they got Jerry Jeudy, they got Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler as their wideouts. And plus they got Pro Bowler Cortland Sutton. So, you figure they're no slouches over there in Denver.
They
better.
They have no choice. They have no
Yeah.
choice. They
That's
just traded away they draft capital for the next 3 years. They have no choice at this point.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to think in Russell Wilson's career, because you could look at a few quarterbacks that have made players better. You know what I mean? Whether you compare, like you're looking at Tom Brady and you talking about Welker, or who was the receiver before Welker who did the same exact thing?
I think Wes Welker was first, and then after him was Julian Edelman.
Edelman, exactly.
Tom Brady had
so
10 straight years of that.
And you had Peyton Manning that did that. There was always that player, there was always those quarterbacks that made players better. I'm trying to think, Lockett, could you really say, do you think he made Lockett better, or was Lockett just one of those like game breakers? You know what I mean? Like he knew he could depend on to air it out to. So they have a good young receiving core, and there've been so many quarterback switches with them. None of them get comfortable. So hopefully they could build some type of chemistry. They got, at least a quarterback that but you don't even know that because he stay hurt so much. You know what I mean? Like if he stays consistent, they'll be above mediocre. I don't think they're gonna do anything special there. And then the running backs, they still got Melvin Gordon, who's on the back nine. You know what I mean? So I don't think the trade was beneficial to. It was beneficial to Seattle, but Denver, it's almost like they become the Cleveland Browns, Like,
I mean, they're definitely going for it. With Seattle now, that kind of puts them in the market for a quarterback, because I can't see them keeping Drew Lock as their guy. So, there's a lot of quarterbacks that are still out there. Some guy named Deshaun Watson is probably looking for a team right now. And then I'm sure there's some trade. They got a lot of picks. They could probably package them picks and send it to another team to get, maybe a Derek Carr or, someone of that caliber. So they're not necessarily out of it. And plus, when it comes to a quarterback making the receivers better, I mean, we just saw what Matthew Stafford did in LA. So I'm sure now every single team is going to be trying to imitate that, where they're trying to find the right guy. Maybe that's what Denver's thinking. Like, now we got our guy. We're going to help them take a guy like Jerry Jeudy to the next level. And, I don't necessarily know if that's going to help them, because they have so many other holes. They still need a linebacker. They still need a pass rush. So, and those things are the things that really win championships. So I don't know if they just went from a mediocre team to a semi-decent team in the AFC, or what Denver really did. They got a lot of competition just in that division and in that conference. So I don't know how this helps them.
Yeah, well, they got a long way to go, because you still got to get past the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with them. I think San Diego's really coming up, so you have to deal with them. I don't know what's going on with Oakland, so you could pass Oakland, maybe fight for third in the division, but even that's not going to get you in the playoffs.
I don't know how to mean this though. Look, running quarterbacks like Mahomes, like he's a battle throwing version of Lamar Jackson, but with not all the flash and pizzazz. But you got to realize what that does to the defense. So a running quarterback, even a threat of running, he can hold that secondary just for a slight second. He can hold that linebacker core for a slight second. So when you're doing it and you're really looking at how the NFL is going to, you don't have as many. What's the Taylor kid name in Indy? You don't have them type of running backs no more. You got it right now in the NFL is running back by committee. To be honest with you, I mean, it's not like a lot of high profile running backs that we can remember that, like, you know what I'm saying, 5 years going forward. So if you look at it, sometimes these quarterbacks, they become a running option. And then now, if I can guarantee to get, you know what I'm saying, just that 3 to 5 yards on the second down, that's making a difference. We see it with Patrick Mahomes. We see it with all these different quarterbacks, and then not necessarily taking the sack. You remember last time I talked to y'all, we was talking about Joe Burrows. His ability not to take them sacks, and then you know what? Everything I said almost came true, right? On that last drive. You remember if that last drive would have went the way it was supposed to go, it would have been legit. That's what they looking for now. They looking for them quarterbacks that can hold this secondary, that can hold these linebackers, make them think twice. And if you look at it, what did DJ Metcalf do last year? But drops a lot of balls. Once DK Metcalf started dropping all the balls and he wasn't at his peak productive level like he was years before, all they had to do was double team Tyler Lockett. And that's what you start seeing a lot. But when did Denver really give up? They number 1 draft pick tight end from 2 years ago, and some picks that we don't know gonna pan out. And then they got Chubb on the line. They got a lot of defensive presence. They got the certain kid at cornerback. They got a lot of good pieces in. I don't know how y'all throw them. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go as far as say that, you know what, they might be number 2 right behind Kansas City.
Logic.
That's a big jump. That's
No
a
logic.
big jump.
Look
Man.
Wait,
first
hold
of all,
on. I gotta push back on
Chubb
that.
don't stay healthy.
Go ahead,
Chubb don't
Hank.
stay healthy. Chubb, and that's it's the problem with Chubb. Chubb don't stay healthy. Melvin Gordon, he's done. They about to roll with that little young running back, that rookie from last year, man. He's tough. He's a monster. So Gordon's, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see Gordon get traded before the draft. But as far as it's Satan, we don't know what's going to happen with him. He's a rookie. He was a rookie last year, so we don't know what he's going to do.
But that defense been legit. It been that defense. If you look at their categories, they defense.
That defense was legit. It's not legit no more. When they lost my man, he went to the Rams. It hurt him. That he was a leadership. He was the backbone of the defense. And Chubb didn't play it all hardly last year. So, you know, and like I said, Surtain, he was young. You don't know what you're going to get from him.
But
he might have one good season, then next season, he's nowhere to be found. We've seen that with Johnson, Jalen Johnson from Chicago. I thought he's going to be good, but I don't know. I thought Eddie Jackson was supposed to be good. And he ain't paying it out right now. Now they're talking about maybe cutting him. So you never know, man. Them draft picks could have been used. We got to realize, don't forget, Russell wasn't the first or second round pick. He was a third round quarterback. You could find something in the draft, man. That's what it's there for, to see what happens. But they lost him the first 2 rounds for 2 years in a row. That's man, you invest your whole future.
And they need offensive linemen. I mean, they gave up like 40. They gave up like 40 sacks last year. They got a brand new head coach, which means it's going to be a brand new offensive scheme that old ass Russell Wilson is going to have to, you know what I mean, get used to. He's going to have to build a relationship with the receivers, in addition to learning a new offense, with the head coach learning all his new players. You know, they also have to, you know, get a winning culture there. You know what I mean? I think that Denver nearly ran into an issue with the whole Brian Flores lawsuit situation. That's a huge distraction that I'm sure Russell Wilson is going to get asked about. So that's not nothing that they could just pretend isn't going on. So, you know, they might have, it might look good on paper. And again, because of what we saw Matthew Stafford do with the Rams, now everyone's going to say, well, now these kinds of teams are a good quarterback away from being Super Bowl contenders. But the Broncos, they still got to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and everybody's talking about the Chargers. You know, at some point they either got to turn a corner or not. And I feel like this is the year that Justin Herbert has to turn a corner. They just got Khalil Mack. I'm sure he's gonna try to come out gangbusters because he has a lot to prove. So it's not necessarily going to be some easy task. And meanwhile, I'm sure the Seahawks are going to do everything they can to fill the vacuum that Russell Wilson just left, and they should have plenty of options. I mean, I think Pete Carroll has a lot of respect around the league, and that receiving core, I mean, who won't want to, in their mind, play with a DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett? So, you know, I think that time will tell on who really won the trade, because, you know, each organization is kind of in a really weird transitional period. So, you know, I think it's going to be tough. And them giving up all that draft capital, we get on the Bears all the time about that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, what about the 13th man, though? What about the 13th man in Denver? And a lot of people don't play this into consideration. Do everybody know what the 13th man is in Denver? In Denver?
You talking about the altitude?
Yes. And then see, I mean, look, we saw what it did for Peyton Manning, right? It gave Peyton Manning. I mean, I'm just saying it. When you get these defense inside of in Denver, they don't play the same. You know what I'm saying? And then now the Denver that we have known, not no young buck Denver like the last 6 years Denver, but the Denver we had became accustomed to, they take advantage of that. And then now imagine Russell Wilson in Denver. It's going to take him a while to get used to it. If he was smart, he'd get out there now. He'll start getting used to the atmosphere. And then now he will play that to his advantage because he's still a smart man. And then they know they're going to do that. Hey, I done seen guys. I used to be stationed in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So I used to go to the Denver games. And it took me almost, and I was like in peak shape. It took me almost 6 months to get used to that being in there. And then when I came out of that, I was much faster. I was like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? I'm running circles around everybody. I mean, and that's a key thing. So now this gonna make Russell Wilson better, not just at home, in his away games too. So that's all I'm saying.
Hey, I'm gonna ask the panel something real quick. I don't know if have any of you guys been to Denver before?
Yes, indeed. I was just about to follow up about that, bro.
Yeah. Okay. So I see.
Follow up.
Like I see 5 people have, man. I went for the first time, and it was definitely a difference. It's weird as hell. I'm sitting up here like couldn't understand. Like I feel like I'm talking. I'm just getting out of breath.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys haven't been, man, there is a difference as far as the quality of air.
But you know something though, they got 3 opponents every year that comes to Denver, and they not beat them. So your opponents are used to it if they're in your division. Your division opponents know that. They know it. They got knowledge on that. So that's not even a factor for them. So if that's the case, they ought to be undefeated at home. So that's 8 wins according to the elements, but that's not the case.
Yeah, but
you still have to win. You still have to win. You still have to go in there and take care of your business. Short of breath for nothing.
Here's how it works, man. So from what I was told, because I went last year, and when I tell you, being me, first place I went was the dispensary, and then I went to my homie block about 6 blocks away or whatever, right? When I tell you that 6-block walk from dispensary to his house felt like I ran there, like it's different. It's very different. But teams in that division know, they've been in that division for 30, 40 years. They know how to deal with it. It's not the advantage that a lot of people think it is. The place where it's more of an advantage is actually in basketball. Like I had an NBA guy tell me that the Denver Nuggets should not be allowed to have home games. That's how bad the advantage is there. So, but the real question is, what we sitting here waiting for is, what does Ciara think about all this? You think, here's the thing, how did he walk into the room like, baby, look, we got to move. And you know, Ciara got the stars in her eyes. She thinks she might be going to New York. She thinks she might be going to Miami. She said, you got to go to Denver.
What?
Hey, well, Amber, I'm gonna throw it to you. You know, the marketing world has gotten smaller, I think, you know, in terms of the reach. Social media has made it to where you could be a guy that's in Jacksonville, but if your talent is good enough, you know, maybe your jersey sales will be high. I'm sure Russell Wilson's jersey sales are already, you know, up there in terms of rank. So does the fact that he's being in Denver impact Ciara at all? She could be a spokesperson for a lodge up there, maybe get her own little let Russ cook strain. You know, I mean, there's plenty of opportunity up there. What do you think?
I'm so glad I can finally contribute to the conversation. First and foremost, I've dated a couple coaches, well, basketball coaches, and it didn't work out because the first thing they said, even before on the first date, is, are you willing to travel? I'm looking for a wife. At any given moment, I may have to go to, coach this college. Are you willing to travel? Just like that. Obviously, the date didn't happen, but I understand that lifestyle. But the social capital for Denver is the trajectory is going to skyrocket. For a number of reasons. For one, a lot of people go to Denver because it's beautiful. I went there to conduct a couple photo shoots. Like Amos said, dispensaries, the cannabis industry. When I tell you people are going to now capitalize on it, cannabis industry is going to probably endorse it. Ciara's probably going to have a cooking show, snow bunny outfits. Like, they're a brand. Like, there's just no way they're not going to win besides football alone. Denver is winning completely on a social media standpoint.
Do you think it'll hurt his brand at all? I mean, Russell Wilson, I think the implication is that he has this squeaky clean image, and Ciara is his, pretty young thing on his arm. So now if he's endorsing weed and endorsing, whatever that kind of industry could be, is that going to hurt him?
Well,
you're going to endorse him black and miles.
It's how, first of all, it's how you spend it. First of all, what's the typical age of a quarterback, like the oldest age? Because I kind of heard you guys talk about, like, he's
late
up
20s,
there.
Early 30s.
Yeah, they're getting older.
So he's up there, right?
Older.
So technically he's up there, right? So he's probably already thinking about life after football, I'm assuming, or his team is starting to have him think about that. If I was his publicist, I would spin it where it's not about cannabis and, him endorsing cannabis, but all the black men and black women who were incarcerated wrongly, now they're making millions off that. So you can spin it and have a narrative for social impact. Now I have a stake in the game. Now we can free more people. Now we can have more social equity. It's just all how you spin it.
Well, I mean, there was some other football moves that happened. The Browns are getting Amari Cooper, so it looks like Dallas is kind of getting rid of him. I don't really know where this is going to put the Browns, or if it's going to be a lot more of the same. But there's definitely been some other moves made. I think it's a little early for the NFL to be on everybody's minds, but they definitely are still making moves. Looks like the Panthers maybe going after Deshaun Watson. So I think Deshaun Watson's not getting any criminal charges was a big thing that happened in the news. I don't know if it'll free him up to where he'll be able to start to repair his image slowly. He already kind of had a statement the other day addressing it. So, where do you think this will all leave him? As a quarterback in the league, clearly teams are going to start to make some moves here. Is he going to be one of the last guys to get signed, depending on how the summer shapes up? Or, is it only a matter of days now before we hear a team is trying to get their hands on him?
Hey, I'll tell you this, man.
We get on that, though. Can I just say something to the narrative, though? Do we really think that these organizations care about these images, or they care about their image to media? You got to realize that this is the NFL, though. Like, they really don't care. They never care. They know these guys are high risk. They know half of these guys got charges and felonies even before they get to the combine. So do these organizations really care? Or they worry about soon as the media clear, then he's cleared, and then he will be the first to get signed?
We have short memories, man. We have so short memories. You remember what was a decade ago? We had Ben Roethlisberger running up on chicks in bathrooms or whatever. We didn't even talk about that when he retired. You know what I mean? That was like what everybody was, sitting around talking about his great career. I'm like, y'all don't remember the bathroom and the chicks? Like, okay, all right.
Yeah, he was a booty snatcher.
You know what I'm saying? So we have a short memory. What I'd be interested to hear from Amber is that, because I've been going back and forth with this all weekend. He's going to land in some city, but not Houston, right? And that team is going to have the job of spinning or reintroducing him to that market with this narrative under his head. And I don't know how I feel about that, because on one end, he was exonerated. They said there wasn't a lot of evidence to prosecute. But I'm telling you what, bro, if 30 massage therapists in Houston all said you like happy endings, bro, they can't all be lying, bro. And I'm wondering how that, if you're an NFL team, how do you spin that to your female fans? Because that's a toxic rod dropped right in the front of your organization that you now got to Team Watson. Yeah, look, I'm not taking a side, but I'm just, it looks bad, bro.
Hey,
like some GM is gonna have to walk out and say, we've traded for Deshaun Watson, and a media member, most likely a female media member, is going to ask him, but what about that? And that's what I'm interested in, female perspective on.
I tell them what they do. Go talk to Robert Kraft's media team, because what he did was no different. Happy endings. He got him too, and he found his way out. I don't know what he said. I don't know who he talked to. I don't know who he paid. You're right, Jay. My bad. Now I know the truth. But I look at it like this, man. Seeing what Russell Wilson, they gave up for Russell Wilson. Imagine what team's gonna have to pay out now that he's in the clear. And to me, I love Deshaun Watson, and I'm glad he's cleared of all these charges are supposed charges or mythical charges. I don't know.
So Hank, you was with him the whole time. You never lost anything for him, and this is just, you just glad everybody else gets to see.
Hell, man, we seen too many situations where these black men have been falsely accused of things, and then come to find out, most of these things didn't even happen. So I'm gonna stand by him till I can. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just me.
What do you think, Amber, about all that?
I'm torn like Avon. I remember my older brother in high school lost a college scholarship in Milwaukee because he was dating a white girl. And her parents found out and called the police and called it rape.
You got to watch that R word.
Sorry. And we're seeing more and more women who are falsely accusing men, and there is no repercussion for it, which then minimizes real victims. A man getting a happy ending, that's his business. That's what he chooses to do. So I'm completely torn as well. I don't think there's any way around it. Even they still bring up, Chris Brown. Chris Brown is still in a situation where he had to show proof that this woman is lying. And a lot of men are losing their lives. They're losing their freedom. They're losing possibilities. They're losing incomes for being falsely accused. So I don't know if I'm answering the question, but I'm torn as well.
If Chris Brown didn't have those receipts,
she was going for 20 million too.
If Chris Brown didn't have those receipts, because he already has the history, you know what I mean? So it's all grounds for them to just, let's get him out of here. If he didn't have those receipts, it was over for him, man. And it shows you, like, it's crazy.
And the bad thing about it,
have to explain or even have to spend. Like, would you expect any team to have to come out? Let's say it was your favorite team. If you were a football fan and you had your team needed a quarterback, and they went and got Deshaun Watson, would you be like, okay, they need to say why they went with it, or because that he was exonerated, you don't even need that explanation?
Don't say nothing.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't have to. I'm so against cancel culture. Just play the game. Do what you do best. I would say in the media standpoint, I will show him just living his life, moving forward, playing a good game, sportsmanship. If he's a family man, having friends, but don't address anything, because if you start addressing one thing, you feel the need to explain yourself to everybody, and everybody's going to have a right to tell you how to live. Play the game, show happy life. If you have a wife, if you have children, sportsmanship, play the game.
Another thing I would tell him if he was in my family, I say, man, look, if you have social media, hire you a social media team and let them run the account for you. Don't you do it yourself. So you don't have to see all the BS and all the backlash that people's going to say after you get, a new job at whatever team decides to bring you in. You don't have to deal with that and then you don't have to respond because you can respond out of emotions. They catch you on a bad thing, a bad game, and somebody say something silly, and you respond. No, don't. No.
The trick
Hey,
is 3 days.
I'll tell you one thing. Going further, get on social media. Period.
3 days, exactly, Hank. 3 days. I have had people tell, publicists tells me and their clients, 3 days, stay off social media. Something's going to happen that's going to take their attention away. 3 days, don't say a word.
See, I disagree though. I mean, and I didn't really disagree, but this is the thing. These pro athletes need to start pulling some Kyrie Irving type moves. Like they need to stand their ground because I'm just be honest with you. In the day, if you go to any major city, and in all these major cities close to these facilities have these massage parlors. This is known. I mean, next to the Redskins training facility out here, you'll have these high class massage parlors that do whatever, right? This is what we got to realize and understand. These women know it's a bag out here to get. These women know their identity will be sealed. So you telling me as a man, I can accuse, just say the roles was reversed. If I knew that I can accuse a woman of something, and then now automatically they would have to protect their image and my name would be sealed, it's not worth a try. See, that's what these brothers need to start standing up for because they be getting railroaded by these young women in these industries, and then nobody says nothing. Like this man got to defend himself against. No, you got to prove he did this. Like when did it becomes okay? You know what I'm saying? Let's repair his image. Let's be honest. What did he do? He ain't done that. But you know what I'm saying? In our mind, we programmed and said this man got to prepare his image. He got to go and do all this. No, you know he got to do. He need to hold the NFL accountable for letting this stuff keep occurring to their athletes. These chicks ain't putting millions of dollars and billions of dollars in these owners' pockets. It's these athletes. That's why these owners is really be like, you know what? Hey, they forget it in a heartbeat. So I'm not trying to downgrade it, but it's insane that one young woman have the enough mojo to see and say, you know what? I'm gonna try to get this bag. Next thing you know, 40 come out of nowhere. Like, come on.
Logic, let me say something, man. You got to protect yourself. I don't need to depend on somebody else to protect me but me. I know who's going to protect me better than anybody. Me. I'm not going to depend on the NFL to send some type of protection. Hell no, I'm not. And I got to protect myself from these women. That's what I'm going to have to do. This ain't the first time a dude's got railroad, and it's not going to be the last. Dudes, fellas, we have to learn to protect ourselves at all costs. I don't care if they look like you or they don't. You have to protect yourself from this bullshit. We can't keep doing this, man. We can't come with these excuses. I need the NFL to step up. I need the NBA. I need the Major League. I need sports. I need my company. Hell no.
But you know what?
Stand up and protect yourself.
So my son's cousin is Pierre Thomas. He was drafted to the New Orleans Saints. I remember when he got drafted, we was at a celebration and he pulled me to the side. This is when me and my son's father was still together. I'm not even family. He pulled me to the side and was telling me in the NFL, they actually have like classes and programs where they sit down and talk like your family's going to have their hand out. Women are going to try to come at you this way. This is how you protect yourself. This is how you deal with this situation. So isn't the NFL, preparing players, especially when they get drafted for situations like this? Don't date women like this. Don't always have an NDA sign, things like that.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Well,
But
to Link's point, I mean, to Mr. Logic's point, to this specific issue with Deshaun Watson, he avoided criminal charges, but he's still under under investigation for civil charges. So, he might still have to come out some money with, one or two of these women who might have a couple receipts that just haven't been released publicly yet. He may not have to necessarily be charged with all 22 women. I think it was 22 different women who had their own story. And it seems like some of it is just, he was creepy. And so I don't really think that that's against the law or how that works out. Since when was just having a bad experience something that you could sue for? But at the same time, he is still under the thumb for some of these civil lawsuits. So the bag is still there to get. It's just that he's not going to go to jail or anything like that. So now teams can go after him. So it seems like he might have been cleared, but no, I mean, he still is going to be investigated and be maybe financially responsible for some of these women who they may not get $1 million, but if each one of them gets, 80 grand, 100 grand just for their silence, I mean, that's tax-free dollars, I imagine, if it's awarded to you. So they still could get some money out of the whole experience from just them saying that something happened.
You know what's crazy though, too? It was 15 women that actually filed charges against this man who never came in contact with him. Because you remember that number was at like 40 to 50, right? And then it dropped down. Because it was, they understand the culture. They understand that, you know what? Just like they said, he have more to lose. They tell these young men, hey, look, just negotiate. Throw some money at him, right? And that's why I said these athletes need to start carrying these chicks. Like on some real stuff. Like, no, I ain't taking it. You know what I'm saying?
Do you mean by Kyrie? What does Kyrie ever do? What do you mean?
Well, he said, I'm not taking it. You know what I'm saying? He said, well, I ain't gonna say what you know what I'm talking about. What he recently did. But he stood up and said, I'm not gonna take that. And that's what all these guys.
Logic it's a different. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying this. Look, I understand it's different things. They can put all these protocols into place, like I think Amber has said it right. They do these things in all these major sports, but the culture still know it's a vulture culture. That's why everybody jump onto it to try to get a quick buck. And now they depend on that athlete to sit here and say, hey, I might lose my Nike contract, which Deshaun Watson lost. And so he'll think about it. I can give these women $10 million, but I can also guarantee myself this $120 million Nike deal. So now they will negotiate, but they would do it out of fear. And we got to, I mean, at the end of the day, these are black men in most of these sports. And so at some point, black men have to step up for black men. No, we need to railroad the idiots. The guys who run around doing go speed races and run into the chicks and stuff like that. Yes, they need to go. But when you have a society that's designed to let these guys get ran through for an image, that's when I got to push back on it.
Well, hey, look at her, man. First of all, we all know he's not in a massage parlor to get a real massage. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it funky, Logic. That's not what he's there for. So if that's the case, stop trying to go the cheap route and get your head topped off, and go get you an escort who does non-disclosure discreet. Yes, go to an escort and just pay the big bucks. Stop being cheap, because that's all you were looking for, a cheap thrill. Man, stop. Protect yourself. I'm talking to you men out here right now. Protect yourself, fellas. Please don't be a victim of this bullshit. Protect yourself at all costs.
That's a combo spot. You ever been to a bar and a barbershop that's combined? Well, you can get you a swig and you can get your haircut.
Yeah.
I think that's over y'all head. All right, I'm gonna let it go.
I know what you mean, though, Logic, but we all know what he was in there for.
And and we can't overlook the lawyers in this situation too. The lawyers got money to make too. They charging per hour fee, especially maybe the prosecutors. They probably telling their clients to hold out to get some of these money. Keep them charges active and not to drop them.
Typically, what attorneys do is young ladies come to the attorney to say something happened to her. They need to support what she's saying, so they reach out to the woman. Well, did this happen? How did you feel when he did this? Then they reach out to another. These are how women are pulled back. Did he make you feel this way? Oh, well, this woman said the same thing. Now we have 5. Let's get more. So that's what attorneys do, because they got to get their back. And that's where all these women come from.
And then the crazy thing is, I mean, I believe, based on like what you hear about Hollywood, as far as, the ritual that things you have to do to get to a certain point. I think that may exist in football as well to a degree, whereas they know your dirt. They have all your dirt in a file, and they can use that at their discretion, depending on how your relationship, increases, or if you're pushing back, like I heard not Russell, like I heard Deshaun Watson was, he wasn't happy. So all this stuff that they've collected over the years that they've sat on, they can just pull that, they can pick that up and bring that to the table and just blow your whole career up, man.
Mm-hmm.
Look, man, at the end of the day, I struggle to have empathy for this brother. And the reason I struggle to have empathy for this brother is you telling me you're the starting quarterback in Houston, Texas, and you got to go this route to get your thing touched on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can walk down the main drag in Houston probably on Tuesday at 2:00 and run into 5 women who will do whatever you want. I don't understand this, bro. I don't understand it. We love on this network to talk about the concept of dick discipline and how so many of our brothers don't have it. It just, to me, I'm struggling with my empathy because, number one, the vast majority of his accusers are snow bunnies, right? Am I clear on that? Do we know one
I
way?
think it might be 60-40.
Right. So, number one, you already playing with fire there. Never trust a white woman's tears. You heard it here first. Number two, bro, you're a millionaire. You're a public figure. You asking rando chick to top you off at a massage parlor, there's no good ending to that if you really think about it, man. Like, you got money, you have fame, you shouldn't have to work this hard for this, bro. You shouldn't have to work this hard. I'm just saying, man. Like, you got all this wealth and this future ahead. You have to protect that. That's what he was saying. Protect yourself. Make better decisions. This is dick discipline, man. In the moment you might want that, wait a half an hour and call somebody on the roster when you get the massage done and go back to the crib. He could have avoided all this by 30 minutes of common sense thinking, bro.
But look at the documents, right? See, that's why I can accept what Hink said because we know where the massage parlor, you know what I'm saying? We know that concept. But no orgasms was involved in this case at all. So now, what kind of man you know that'll pay for a happy ending that don't get an orgasm? So like I said, we got to quit assuming, because then we'll go into the route where we condemning this man, and then the evidence and facts does not assist nothing we saying. This was based on what we see. Everything was legit. They had a chance to jump on the bag. But I'm gonna ask you this biggest question. This is gonna be the sad thing, right? Who lose in this situation? I'm gonna tell you, lose women. Because now all these athletes will no longer let a massage lady touch them.
That's a lie.
That's
a whole lie, bro. As long as they're 18, 19, 20-year-old men with way too much money and not a lot of common sense, we will be here again, bro.
No, listen.
We will be here again.
You're missing the point what I'm saying. Just think about it now, right? I understand, you know what I'm saying? But look, Deshaun Watson have women. Trust me, he from Atlanta. The dude was in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? The dude got women. That's why I don't really believe nothing that's said. But look, I'm not going to do whatever. I just let it go. At the end of the day, you're right. This brother's in Houston. Everybody know Deshaun Watson. Our women culture, it's easy to get these women. So I'm pretty sure we can almost guarantee that he didn't have a women getting problem. But just to analyze this, in a bigger scheme of things, the women will lose because now the organizations will make sure that their guys are not in these positions anymore. I didn't heard things about, you know what I'm saying, making sure the drivers and all that kind of stuff for the guys that happen in Las Vegas. So you're going to start seeing that. The women going to lose at the end of the day because the longer they keep this up, the men will stay as far away from that they possibly can. They will have cameras everywhere. They have a lawyer. They have R. Kelly lawyer. They have they have a judge in their bedroom. It'll be a judge. It'll be a prosecutor, and it'll be a defense attorney, and then they have trial before it. This is what it's gonna come down to. Who
Wow.
losing? The
Wow.
women are
We
losing
have
this
to put out
situation.
NDAs every time the draws come off, huh? NDA every time the draws come into play.
Hey man, look her. Protect your neck. Shout out to Wu-Tang.
Well, look, we'll see how that develops. Again, the Jacksonville Jaguars are reportedly making a real strong take for him, so we'll see if that
Wait,
pans out.
who?
Jacksonville.
You need to come to the Giants, man. Stop playing, dog.
They got what's
Screw
his name?
him.
They got
Young dude from
Sunshine.
Clemson.
They
That
got
was Urban
Sunshine
Meyer's
down there in
mistake.
Jacksonville. What they
Yeah,
doing?
he's from Clemson too.
That was Urban Meyer's mistake. Give me Deshaun Watson. Right on, black man. Do your thing. Take that white boy's job.
Oh yeah, Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, they just got Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he may be a good backup. Who knows? I don't really know how that works out, to be honest with you. But maybe they got some back channels to try to just help Deshaun out there. Maybe get a headline going that they're going for him when maybe they're really not. So who knows how that's really panning out. But to switch gears a little bit to the NBA, when we can maybe find an empathetic figure in Russell Westbrook, even though he's been playing pretty badly, and the Lakers, all the expectations that they may have had in the beginning of the season, they're certainly not living up to. Russell Westbrook's family, they have been a bit of victims to some social media bullying. I think that people online have been wishing some really horrible things on Russ and on his family in general. So how do you square between a player who is kind of nonchalant about the team he's on's success, his own play, versus someone getting online and saying, I hope you get hit by a bus. You know what I mean? Like, how do we, what has happened between fan culture, our empathy levels for these athletes versus how the athletes are supposed to respond to their own struggles on the court?
Hey man, let me give credit to. I know we talk a lot about black women, but shout out to Mrs. Westbrook. I'm gonna give her nothing but love and credit because the way she's standing up for her husband and her family, that's the type of black woman every man should dream to have. That woman's gonna be in the every corner defending your name to the very end. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's the type of wife I would want. That's the type of black woman I want in my corner. That type. Because are some of these fans assholes? Hell yeah, we all know it. We all know it. Shit, Anton even admit he could be an asshole sometimes at the games, giving the players a hard time. But it is what it is. Now, it's one thing to shout out and give shit to me as a player. I understand it's part of it. But when you involve my family, man, that's just going way too far, man. Taking shot at family, the kids, and all that. I mean, the one lady was taking a shot at LeBron's kids, talking about wishing they was deceased. Man, that's too much, man. That is way over the top, man. Over a basketball game, man. That's not cool, man.
I wish they could take some of them fans, and just walk them to the locker room. Like, all them fans that was talking junk, like bloop bloop, just kind of dot them during the game, and then come to them like, yeah, you won this ticket where you get to come to the locker room and meet the players. And then they just be like, yo, what you said about my son? You know what I mean? Or track their Twitter, had them back there. Like, a lot of these fans, man, they just want attention. You know what I mean? It's the same thing you'll find anywhere, whether it's the NBA fans, even on YouTube, the chats. I'm guilty of it too. When I'm in the chat, I be trolling. It's fun, you know what I mean? But it's nothing serious, but I'm not going at people's families. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different degree when you're talking about people's kids and people's wives. Like, that needs to be addressed in some capacity. I know it's hard, but they have to figure out a way to address that.
Can I ask a question? There's a lot of shit talking on the court. What did he say about Carmelo Anthony's wife? She tastes like Cheerios.
Yes, he
So, like,
did.
That was Kevin
Yeah,
Garnett.
Kevin
He
Garnett.
did.
So not excusing fans, but isn't that a level of shit talking on the court or on the field too? Or is wives and kids off limit? Because isn't it to mentally take your opponent off their square?
Nah, I mean, Melo was waiting in that hallway for him, Like, there's shit talking, and then there's what you fan? Meet me outside. You know what I'm saying? Catching me outside. How about that? You know what I mean? So it's a difference.
Mm.
I was just gonna say,
Go ahead.
that I don't. It's gonna keep getting worse. I mean, on one hand, we want people to be able to just say what it is they want to say. We don't want to promote cancel culture and all that stuff like that. Freedom of speech is what we're pushing for. But when it comes to fans, I guess you just gotta deal with it case by case, depending on how crazy it is. But shit talking always been happening. I do think some of the players are getting a little sensitive. I mean, realistically, you're not going to be able to stop them from saying anything about your kids and your wife and so forth on the internet. It's just going to be kind of like impossible. You know, like you're going to stress yourself out more trying to defend against these fans. You know, just show up, try to tune it out because they're not going to get rid of the fans. It's all about money, right? So they're going to keep bringing the fans there. Every now and then you may have some fans that just get crazy out of control. But I don't think fans should necessarily be kicked out just because the player is saying that they're irritated with them. You know, I think, you know, if something's being said or something like that, maybe security come over and monitor the situation. But if they just trash talking, then just let them trash talk because you can't control every single thing all the damn time. At some point in time, like when are we going to just have to just toughen up a little bit? You know, and that's
that's my thing, bro. Like here's what I'm getting at. Here's where I'm gonna go with this. I struggle to here I go. I guess this is a personality trait. I struggle with empathy. I struggle with empathy for some of these athletes because I know what I've gone through. Like, bro, I've coached in the Chicago Public League. They don't even allow fans at some of these games, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember we played a game at Finger. They actually have chicken wire. They have chicken wire to keep the kids from throwing stuff on the court, throwing stuff at people or whatever, bro. So like, you know, like, and then just growing up hooping, going to different parks around Chicago, bro. Like, if they sense any type of like, they smell fear on you, man, they going in, bro. They going in. So I struggle to have empathy with this because I've been in situations where I'm hooping and some dude on the side of the court is, hey man, you knocked down one of the three. We're gonna have to talk outside of this game after this game. I'm like oh shit, like, you know. This is like ain't nothing's going to happen to you, bro. You got like 60 security guards in there. Your family is sitting way away from these people or whatever. Like, I don't understand what the actual threat is. I just think a lot of these dudes are sensitive. Like, can they imagine being Jackie Robinson riding around in the South in the 1950s and see what his family or what Hank Aaron had to deal with when he was breaking Babe Ruth's record? I'm not saying people should have to go through that, but have some perspective, bro.
I mean, even
like
LeBron,
dude
you got to go back that far. Even LeBron, when LeBron was going through his early Cleveland Cavalier days, when his teammate was Delonte West, he probably was going all the way through it in terms of fans heckling. And even today, I mean, Naomi Osaka just was just driven to tears at the BNP Paribas Open. Mm-hmm. Like the other day, I want to say this was over the weekend. You know, she was brought to tears, and I think Venus and Serena Williams had a similar experience at that tournament. So it was definitely.
You know, Corday, you know, like the rapper, like his girlfriend, the tennis player, didn't she just stop yesterday or something like that? Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, she stopped
because somebody was yelling something.
What are we doing these days, man? Can you imagine
John paying some money? You know, paying some money to come see somebody and they just stop. I don't know the full story. I just saw it this morning.
John McEnroe doing this like in the 80s, bro.
No, but y'all doing it again. Y'all been disingenuous. Y'all living in the 80s. Because see, now the same people that say, oh, they need to suck it up and toughen up. You know what I'm saying? You see them at the bar, you step on their shoe, they ready to punch you in the face. You know what I'm saying? You slip out and say something about it. So no, it always gonna be that, you know what? Hey, just be the one of them fans that was in Detroit and Indiana doing that brawl, and that guy said that's the worst decision he ever made in his life. Because guess what? They crossing the line. I'm just saying, I mean, we can say whatever it is though, but like I said, if you doing stuff to people only because you have the ability to do it, you went do it to them in real life. You went approach them in real life. You won't do people that you deal with in real life like that, then it's a problem. See, because there's no accountability. That's why people continue to do it, because they know they can get away with it. Half of the people on YouTube talk. No, wait, hold on. Let me just finish though. I'm just saying this right here. Look, just say if we was doing a YouTube live show right now, and all the people in the chat was in the audience, right? You think they'll say the stuff that they say in these chats?
I mean, they can, and it just doesn't. I told Kay a couple of weeks ago, stop reading the comments, man. Why are you even reading the comments, man? Like, but here's
you're missing what I'm saying. You're missing my point. What I'm saying is people do it because they know they can get away with it. And then now, why would you want somebody to sit here and gotta see, especially in the black community, they mess with this man's family. If somebody was to do you like that in real life, you'll go off in their shit.
I mean, look, I'm gonna tell you, okay.
Yeah, that family thing is off limits to me, man.
It's off
man,
limits,
but you got to pick and choose your battles, man.
Yeah,
you never know what, you never know what the outcome is going to be. I get what you're saying, and maybe the fans do understand that it's a controlled environment. It's not going to get out of hand. If we was at a live show, it probably wouldn't be as much as a controlled environment. So, then people might not be tempted to say it, but it's just, you just got to evaluate the situation. Like at hand, because the same way that you were saying in the previous topic about taking a stand, having me need to step up, take a stand about this, we can apply that same thing here. I mean, they're going to tell the NBA players, like, look, we can't control every single thing. We don't even know what's being said. All we see is you stopping the game and you going back and forth with this person, and then as he say, now the game stopped, he needs to get out. Like when the refs come over there, they look and they don't know what to do because they don't know what was being said. So at what point in time do we draw the line? If they're not throwing, it's a different story. If they're throwing some on the court, but it's just like out of all these people screaming, you hit it, you pinch it to this one person, and on top of that, you have an off game already.
Look, they had a picture on Twitter, and I should have took a screenshot of it. They had the LA Forum Stadium burning in flames, and then they had Russell Westbrook and his kids running out. Right? So look, I'm with the trash talking on the court to get your head off, right? But we allow so much to the fact that it's like, think about this, is when you allow so much, you know what people gonna continue to do? They're gonna continue to push the bar. You know what I'm saying? If you ever had I don't mean to take this to Thursday, but you had to have that female and then she allow you to get away with so much, then you know what I'm saying? Normally you'll normally kind of push the bar. You know what I'm saying? Until she put her foot down. So I'm just saying the way that they be doing these athletes, look, and they get paid millions.
I can understand the trash talking, but I know nothing about the sign. I mean, of course, get rid of the sign.
Yeah, though Twitter goes ham. And then normally they don't really talk about like the fans and or whatever, because the fans normally keep it. They kind of understand that, hey, the fans is trying to get into my heads. So now they can tell themselves that, you know what, as long as they don't touch me and they're like that or throw that at me, this their job to try to get in my head, right? But what's the purpose to do it on the internet when the game is over?
I mean, but you can't control, but you can't control the internet. We gotta, at some point in time, we have to start adjusting, because we already doing it right now, right? Like, we don't want our kids on social media and TikTok, and it's like we gotta adjust. It's the world now. So
what do you suggest, Roger?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. What do you suggest? I hear what you're saying, but what's the draw? What's the solution? Does that mean each organization hire somebody to thought police people on social media, comb through it? Anybody who says something that's threatening, block them? Like, what's the solution?
I think the solution need to be that these platforms be held accountable. Like I said, like if you want to be honest, like I said, if you go through the Cardi B, Tasha K situation, right? You know what I'm saying? Well, this person just, you know what I'm saying? All this person trying to do is just destroy this other person's reputation. And then YouTube will allow it. These platforms would allow it. And then now we got a chaotic culture that we consider to be normal. I mean, we didn't normalize this chaotic culture. And I'm saying at some point, because something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. And then next time it happens, it's going to be way worse than, you know what I'm saying, Roy Artest and Jermaine O'Neal and Steven Jackson. So you just cannot keep piling this stuff on these men, and we already said most of these guys are from the hood. Most of these guys are from these low income neighborhoods, and I know it's not an excuse, right? But and they getting paid millions, but do they get paid millions to just get, you know what I'm saying, to just get shitted on their families? Like I said, keep it on the court. If you saying it's in the court, I'm good. But I like this. I think it should be against the law for me to do something to that point, especially if I'm lying. And I put your kids right now, your kids or your husband or whatever, running out of your house, and I make some graphics where it's on fire. That shit, it should be against the law. What point is we gonna, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna grow up? Because our kids gonna get worse.
So,
But you know something, Logic?
you are speaking of challenging freedom of speech, though, as well.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
I'm not challenging freedom of speech. I'm saying freedom. It should not be freedom to slander.
That's
yeah, but Logic, you gotta take the good with the bad, though, man. I mean, a lot of these sports, you know, these players are benefiting from the social media.
It's part
Financially benefiting from it. So you're gonna have to take the good with the bad. You know there's gonna be some assholes out there, man. There's nothing you could do about that. But you just got you just gotta learn how to do what you have to do, man, and adjust accordingly. But like I said, to me, families are off limits, man. You would think that. You would think that if they have any type of heart, man, I'm not gonna mess with this man's kids. What is it gonna benefit me saying something about the man's kids or wife? She has nothing to do with the game. She had no dealings on the outcome.
Hold on.
You know, it is what it is, man.
Hold on. I want to say this. Like, I'm okay if you take the correct route in order to address it. So let's just say if it is like a law put in place or a rule put in place somewhere and you exercise your right. It's just the emotional response to it, you know, letting it become a distraction. I mean, note it, you know, and then handle it accordingly, you know, if there is something that you can do about it. But just you know, it affecting your mind mentally in a game, and you know you're already off all the emotions with it. I'm not saying that you should just let people just run over you, but at the same time too, you got to understand that it could be a consequence if you do square up, or if you don't have a firearm or something like that, or as a possibility, you know, you may lose your job. So if there's a method put in place in order for you to address it, I'm all for it. But I just don't want you to respond emotionally in that moment. And you wind up saying some stuff that you can't take back, or you wind up fumbling the bag.
Well, you know something? They got a thing called cyberbullying. File a lawsuit against them.
No, I just want to say this though. Did you understand what our point? I'm just saying, I understand freedom of speech, but it shouldn't be freedom to slander. And I think that's where the line gets drawn for me. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Can I ask you a question, Logic? You know, obviously, you know, Lapeef Network is well known, it's growing, and the comment section is lethal. I got nervous to come on the show. If Logic, you saw somebody make a comment that targeted specifically somebody you love in the comment section, what's going to be your reaction? What are you planning on doing?
It happened. It happened. No, it happened on a live show. And then I just put in the private chat, hey, look, this guy just put my job literally in the address. I mean, in the comment section. And so, but you got to realize this, but JR got power to sit here and neutralize that. Right? See, just say if this, JR is the platform, right? Or Twitter. That come up. He got the power to neutralize that. And then just as fast it was neutralized or whatever, and then it's good. But you gotta, I'm just saying this, like this. That person, that wasn't necessarily slander, what they was doing, but why do it? You see what I'm saying? JR can fix that easy. Demas can fix that easy. If somebody right now come in the chat and say something crazy about you, that can be fixed easily. But you got to when you're dealing with this right here, I'm saying, make your jokes, do whatever. But if you're actually slandering somebody, it's going to come to a time in these arenas where and especially this Photoshop age. What y'all going to say when these fans start Photoshopping themselves next to these men's wives? And then you're going to say, oh, you get paid enough. Hey, suck it up, right? Suck it up. Okay. Now, if I Photoshop myself next to somebody's wife on this panel and then throw it on the screen, we're going to have some issues, right? Because that's disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? I'm playing way low ball. And then I'm saying they play way low ball. And then these outlets, because they're not liable for it, once they become liable for it, yeah, they need to cut it off. I'm just saying, not the slander. I'm good with it. The trash talking. You can sit here and say, you know what I'm saying, Westbrook is you know what I'm saying, he build houses for a living because he shoots so many. It's cool, you can say, but keep that man family out of it. Ain't got nothing to do with it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and Logic, I've been saying it. Wife/husbands and kids are off limits.
And I
We
think
want to
I'm old
welcome
school though.
El
I'm
General
old
to the
school.
show too. We want to get him in. El General, thank you for tapping in with us. So you've heard the conversation so far. What do you think in terms of just athletes? Are they being too sensitive? You imagine maybe over the last couple of decades, athletes might have heard maybe worse things than what they're hearing today. So do you think, and even with the Naomi Osaka situation, it happened to Serena Williams, but she was able to at least, what we say, toughen up and beat the opponent, even though in the midst of getting heckled, and then she and Venus postponed themselves or just kept themselves from going to that tournament for like 15 years. And so, is that something that we should expect Naomi to do the same, toughen up and win, and then just protest it going forward? Or at this point, should we expect and empathize with her that had a great impact on her game to where she lost?
Okay, I think that it depends on the person, to be fair. But the problem comes in because fans invest their emotions into these games. So what you will find is people will say things that are out of turn. I mean, I'm a soccer fan, right? So what I tend to see, especially watching soccer like in the UK, there's a fair but amount of racism, right? So let the black player, for example, miss a shot or have a bad game, you can almost guarantee there will be heckles from the crowd, or even on their social media, they'll see hella monkey emojis. But to a degree, I can understand Naomi's case because at the end of the day, sometimes that type of thing is just too much for people. You know what I'm saying? And then also you have players who will just straight up just stop the game in the middle of it. And I am all for that. I am all for the like you guys were saying, the trash talk. It will happen. You will get people who are trying to get in your head as you're playing because they don't want their team to lose. But the whole thing is, how do you police that? Because what they try to do in the UK is they try to get Instagram to crack down on these like social media accounts, for example. But it's like there's just too much anonymity. Like anyone can just make an Instagram account, for example. Anyone can just put user 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and then go to that certain athlete's page and just leave disparaging comments on it. I mean, yes, I do think that to a degree you need to toughen up to a degree, but everyone's not as emotionally sound. So that's why you have such a thing like a sports psychologist, for example, because they help you deal with certain situations in games. So I'm saying with Sierra Williams, Serena Williams, big up to her. I mean, why not? If you are able to actually get through that whole thing and play to the same level that you're on, that is world class. But I mean, in terms of Naomi Osaka, you can understand both situations. You can understand that some people are able to just get through it and get on with it, and other people it's just too much. So I don't think that athletes are too sensitive. Granted, they are in a privileged position where they are able to perform in front of large crowds. I do believe that you also need to take the good and the bad because not everyone's gonna like you. Like, not everyone likes Serena. Not everyone liked Muhammad Ali. Not everyone liked Cristiano Ronaldo. Not everyone likes LeBron. So it's just I think it's part and parcel of the game, but I do believe that some form of policing needs to be done on it. I do believe that they should have people at the games to like watch for these things.
Do you think that it's an excuse
Because the
for our
problem
players
is,
are using it as an excuse to fail? Like they try to control the narrative a little bit by taking attention away from their bad play and say, well, them calling me Russell Westbrook is
I
really
can see
having an
that.
impact on my family. Well, they're calling you that because you're playing bad. So, which thing
Mm.
should we focus on? Is it your bad play, or should I still be sensitive to your feelings? And then you as an athlete, you're using that as a reason to play bad. Oh, well, I'm getting heckled so bad, that's why I'm not playing well.
Mm.
How do you balance the two?
It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope because on the one hand, right, you can't really, we're at the point now where you can't socialize it out of fans to not be unruly. I think I think every single sport that is played in front of a large group pretty much will have unruly fans. I don't think you can socialize that out of people, but I can see it though. I can see people using it as a cop out. But I'm just saying, I think, but it depends on how bad they've been playing. So I'm saying, for example, if Russell Westbrook says he like the fans are getting to me because like this is why I'm playing bad. But I'm like, if you've been playing bad for 10 plus games, I mean, yeah, you really need to check yourself. I'm like, if you've been playing bad for half a season and your numbers just aren't up, I don't think you can blame that on completely on the fans. But I can see you having a bad game here and there, and you can say it's the fan. But I'm like, it just depends on. I think that depends on the amount of games that you haven't been performing.
Look, man, it's a mindset to me, right?
Hmm.
You have to
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
on as a public figure. You have to take even not even a public figure, just even a regular everyday person has to take on the mindset to survive out here. You just have to stop investing this amount of energy into people, right? Two examples of this I
Hmm.
can think
Hmm.
of, right? I got real hyped about 5, 6 years ago to go to a Bulls game to heckle Dwayne Wade, right? And I got real hyped up, and I said something. I don't even remember what I said to Dwayne Wade. He turned around, looked, and he just kept shooting. It was like the pregame warm up. You know what went through his head? This broke ass idiot over here just said something stupid to me, but I'm going home to Gabrielle Union and the McLaren fan. That's
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
that's that's what went through his head right there. And the same thing
Hmm.
happened to me. So I about a day or two ago, I went up to Michigan City, Indiana, here from Chicago, whatever, right? Stop at the dispensary in Lansing on my way to Indiana. Pick me up a little something or whatever. The security guard don't like where I park my car, and she basically makes my life a living hell for the next 10 to 15 minutes. And then I realized something. This goof ass chick was sitting here making my life hell because her life is hell, and I'm about to go to Michigan City, Indiana, and buy a rental property. And all of a sudden, any negative energy I had towards her just magically disappeared. You know what I'm saying? Like this chick is making $12 an hour hollering at people for how they park
Hmm.
in their cars, and I'm about to go up here and make myself add wealth to my life.
Well, can I do something?
That's
Hey,
where
hey,
these
let me.
dudes have to put their minds at, bro. Because at the end of the day, unless they coming on the court and swinging fists or whatever, bro, they just talking, bro.
No,
And
but
But
that,
you can't expect yourself to have that emotion 100% of the time. How many goofy security guard women are you gonna run into before you go off on the one? You know
I'm
what I
grown.
mean?
Maybe it's a function of my age too. I'm 42, bro. So like at the end of the day, I realized, oh, okay, this person over here is like, making $11 an hour and seems pretty miserable. I'm gonna go back over here and enjoy my life. That's like I can't be pulled into that anymore at a certain point. You
no,
know
but
what
what
I mean?
you tapped into something, bro. You tapped into something, right? You know what I'm saying? Look, what you said is you assume he would think this because he got a beautiful wife and a McLaren, right? So what low key what you're saying that, hey, you know what? He didn't did so much and he got so much that he can take the stuff from me. That's low key what you're saying. And then I like the other analogy you use to say that, you know what, you switch the roles or whatever. But I'm saying at the end of the day, bro, you got to still, just because this man make millions and just because he got a type of wife or whatever, you got to realize that don't mean he got to just go through some unnecessary stuff for you. If you keep, and I don't know the comment you said to him, so I can't speak on
I
that.
think I called him trash. I think I called him. but
I'm saying that's different though. But I think to use your analogy, right? If it go to a certain point, when are we going to say enough is enough? Because people going to always, that's human nature. We'll always push the bar. You know what I'm saying? We went from the T-model cars, now we got Teslas. Human nature will always push the bar if you allow it. So now I'm just saying it's gonna happen sooner or later, regardless. Because you don't know what these guys going through. You know what I'm saying? Their life is under a microscope all the time. You know what I'm saying? They got to see if they make a decision about their kids or whatever, it's everything is under a microscope. So you don't know what level of stress that they under. Just because they got a McLaren don't mean they're stressing.
No, but
Well,
what I'm saying,
the thing.
let me hold real quick, but let me respond to that. What I'm saying is that until you or your family is under potential physical harm, you can't control that. The NBA or the NFL are never going to say, fans, you're not allowed to say this or you're going to leave, because they operate a business that encourages people to say things they're not supposed to say in normal life. It's a football game. It's a basketball game. This is where they come to be fans. The shortage of the fan is short for fanatic, meaning that you are illogical in your thinking. So what you have to understand is that you have to get to a place where these people can't do anything to me. I'm at the point where I actually take pleasure in people saying negative things to me, because I know I gotcha. I got you, bro. I know that if you are giving me all this negative energy and all this heat, I know that something I'm doing has got you so jacked up in the head that I got you. And that's, you got to get to that point.
So, I play ball. I'm 39. So here in Chicago, I remember my dad taking me to all the games when it was Jordan, Pittman, Rodman, Cartwright. I don't remember this happening. Like this was a thing. This was an issue. Do you guys remember that?
Nope.
So it's fair to say that social media, we have, computer thugs who feel like their balls are bigger behind the computer screen. And
Logic.
Pull up on me. Pull up on me.
All right, I'm gonna let that one go, JR. I'm gonna let that one go, JR.
And so with that, I grew up where, I don't like this day and age. I hate participation trophies. Suck it up, buttercup. It's part of the game. It's part for the course. But now as a mom, let somebody mention my son that has nothing to do with what I'm doing. I may not come for you, but I can make a phone call to a couple of my goons. So I understand what Logic's saying, because my child is off limits. So I'm torn.
Yeah, it's a fire and forget type of mentality that social media, what it is now. I'm just and I'm not talking about the stuff that goes on in the court, because at some point you can police that, because the closer the players are, and then, I'm saying, I think they do a fairly good job of saying, hey, look, you know what, you violated, you got to go. And now if you got court-sized tickets to the Laker game where you spend thousands upon thousands of dollars, then now you got some skin in the game. You see what I'm saying? So now you just lost your investment look, who want to pay all this money for these tickets and say something dumb and get kicked out? These arena got code of conduct. So that's not the whole point. The reason we didn't see it exist because social media didn't exist in that point, that now Jordan didn't have to go through this stuff. Pittman didn't have to go through this stuff. Robin didn't have to go through this stuff. And then if the media outlets did present that, they were subject to lawsuits. You know what I'm saying? Media had to select exactly what they're saying. Now, because social media is getting so outlandish, where what does it take to get a YouTube channel to start talking trash about somebody? Nothing. It's absolutely free. You have no skin in the game. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know if you got to use your right name or whatever. And then it's no skin in the game. But If they got skin in the game and they got something to lose and you can hold them accountable for what they do, then I'm all game for it. But these platforms got to be held accountable at some point. That's all I'm saying.
Well, let me say this, man. The thing with Okasawa, man, I have issues with her anyway because she was one of the ones who was complaining about she's having mental issues because of the reporters asking her question and making her question her if she's good anymore. So I'm sure the chat ain't gonna like what my opinion is about that, but I don't give a shit. Y'all kiss my ass. But to me, you knew this is part of the game that the reporter's going to report you. That's part of your media obligations is to answer reporters' questions. So now you don't feel like you can do it. You don't feel like you can go out here and answer the tough questions that they want to know. Well, why'd you take that shot? Or why'd you make that shot? Or why'd you miss that? Or why didn't you see that? To the point where you have a mental breakdown from it?
Bruh.
Come on, man. Come
So
on, man.
I hate to
That
do
ain't
this,
even for
man.
cyberbullying. That's not even an average fan. That's a reporter
Reporter
doing his
his
job.
job.
Their job.
Like you know what she should have did, man. When they told her she had to do a media thing, she should have been like Rasheed Wallace. Both teams play hard. Both teams play hard. You know, like I don't.
Do you think her reaction is playing into the perception of women in sports and being too overly emotional?
Absolutely.
Unfortunately.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately.
And here's the thing. I think this is generational. There were who was the? I'm trying to think. It was Billie Jean King that came out of the closet back in the day. Do you think that was easy for her in the
Billie Jean
19?
King.
Yeah.
I rock with her.
Like you think that was easy for her being openly lesbian in the mid 1980s? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
That's one thing about iconic.
Arthur Ashe went through a lot too. You know, being a black tennis star. I'm sure he would. You know, I'm sure when
Arthur Ashe,
Yeah.
Wilma Rudolph, you know, but you're speaking of iconic people who use their platform for civil rights movements. They stood for something at the risk of even their life and money and stuff like that.
I think my thing is this: you're getting heckled because you're bad. Hank Aaron was getting death threats for being too damn good. It's like, where's your perspective at, bro? Like,
I think, yeah, guys, I think it does require a certain level of emotional maturity and emotional intelligence. Because at the end of the day, your whole career is gonna be scrutinized. Your whole life is gonna be scrutinized. And so I think you do need a certain level of decorum or a certain level of emotional intelligence as you go through it, because really not everyone's gonna like you. I do agree with what Mr. Logic said though. If someone actually comes for something that's dear to you, or some people in your life who you care for, I do think that that's the limit. But I'm saying if people are heckling you because you're bad, it's like if you're a comedian on stage and people are booing you, they have every right to do that. I mean, they have every single right to do that if you're bombing or if you're flopping. But my whole thing is, I think you do need to actually buckle down, get your head down, and carry on. Even if for the rest of the game you play bad and you take a L, I mean that's fine. But I don't think it's a case where you should stop what you're doing because of some scrutiny. Because at the end of the day, this is not the first time it will happen, and it's probably not the last. So.
Well, I mean, that kind of takes us to the meat of the conversation in terms of athletes being role models. I feel like when I was a kid, you know, part of the mystique of the athlete was that they could take anything. You know, they can play and perform in the face of any kind of adversity. You know, they're these larger than life figures. You know, they're making all this money. You know, they're naturally, or you know, they're kind of like heroes. You know, in terms of our emotions that are wrapped up in sports. But now you look at the today's, you know, landscape where an athlete tries so hard to make themselves just look like, you know, the everyday person. So, you know, to where it's almost like putting them up on that pedestal is almost a bad thing nowadays. So is it even healthy and is it good for us to be trying to let our children know like, hey, which one's your favorite athlete and let's go get their jersey and kind of put them up on this pedestal? You know, is the athlete role model something that we should be trying to get away from completely nowadays?
Definitely.
I mean, okay, I guess that depends though. That depends because there are certain athletes I follow who are You know, good people, they give to charity, they're nice to be around from what I hear, but it just it what makes an athlete a role model to me would just basically be the mentality. You know, the one thing I've always enjoyed about LeBron, right? He's not even my favorite basketball player, but one thing I like about him is that mentality, the fact that he could or he can come in clutch for his team, the fact that when the pressure's on, he actually does his thing. The same thing with Giannis. I love Giannis because he's focused on the task at hand. He's got laser sharp focus and he puts in everything for the team. And so I think I don't think like they're my role models per se. I think it's just that I recognize that they have uh, a certain drive and a certain ambition that I would like to emulate. But I see that in like everyday people. I've seen that in my dad, I've seen that in my uncles, I've seen that in my aunt, my mom, people like that, right? So I think it's just that I think I don't think it's the athlete themselves. I think it's just the drive. I think it's just the fact that they managed to pursue what they pursued and they actually ended up being successful from it. That's what I think. So I don't think they should be a role model that you follow. But I think it's just what the qualities that they have that you would like to emulate. You keep those.
But see, think about this though. I don't mean to call cap on you, but I'm gonna call cap. Look, check this out.
Okay.
What community do we have athletes, entertainers as role models? It's only one
Wait,
community.
say that
Yeah.
again.
It's only one community that have athletes, entertainers as role models. And then out of the major number, only
Mm-hmm.
1% of them actually succeed. So
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Yeah,
it's
that's the
our
point.
culture. And that's our problem. That's why we run into so many other things because this is what we define as success. A basketball player, a rapper, or entertainer, a movie actor, whatever. And then now you got your whole culture shooting to get in the door to this 1%. So it's only detrimental to our culture. Because if you go to any other culture, yes, they understand how to be fans, but you'll never sit here and say, hey, you know, that's my role model. I want to be just like him. No, it's solidified role models that exist in their community and it's based off of other things that they want to choose. They understand that, you know what? The odds of me making it is slim to none. That's why I don't give LeBron no credit for making these gems. I give KD no credit for making these gems because all you're doing is send your culture back to try to squeeze through that 1%. And then you got so, and I say to all of them, and I think it was an interview done with J.R. Smith from the Cleveland Cavaliers or whatever. He did an interview. I forgot what podcast it was on, and he laid out some good points, even though he was still talking about the gyms and all that kind of stuff like that. But he was talking about infrastructure still. You got to lay the infrastructure to see, you know what I'm saying, to be a solidified role model. A gym is not going to do that. A boxing gym is not going to do that. You got to lay infrastructure to sit here and say, hey, look, I know 1% of these guys going to make it. So now, if I want to focus on the black culture or my black people, let me focus on that 99%. That 99% is what going to bring or help the black culture rise out of some. So these people, Malcolm X said it great too. They'll never be your role models.
Hey, Logic, I wanna say something about that. And I agree with you as far as like what they're pushing, but it all depends on you can use it as a tool, right? So you can have a gym, but what type of people do you have in there? Like what type of education are you pushing in there? You know, when you have these gyms, it actually gives them a place off the street, right? But
Mhm.
then, so, you know, once they're in, are you teaching them like about the financial literacy? Are you teaching them how to respect, how to move, and things of that nature? So I do think that you can utilize the gyms, you know, just to get them in the door. But then you
Yeah,
also
no.
show them how to be respectful, how to move. These are things you need to know. Do you have a plan B? You know, should this be your plan B? And you kind of minor in this, or you kind of focus on this, and then maybe basketball is a minor. So I think it's just about how you put it all together.
So think about this. Think about this, Jared. You said the gyms, right? And is it fair to say that most of the athletes, if you're a boxer, you put a boxing gym out there, right? Our young women not going to go to no boxing gym. Let's keep it funky.
That's not true. There's a boxing gym near my house, and it's plenty of women, but it was accessible because it's free.
Yes, but you got to
Because it's
realize what
there.
I'm saying though. Is this? I understand.
He said grown women, little girls aren't going to do that.
Yeah, I'm saying, just say even if you get 2% of that population in your community of women to go to that gym, is that making an impact? You made something that you have 2%. See, what I'm saying is they don't focus on the majority. They sit here and because the gyms are gonna go the kids who like to play basketball, and as they get older, and then the talent gap starts shrinking. Because right now, when you're dealing with middle schools, you got more middle schools. Then when you get to high schools, you got less high schools, you got less colleges, you got less NBA teams. So now you're funneling them into this thing. So now as they get up to that point, yeah, they might have been some in middle school. But when you get them to high school, then they'll ride the bench. So now they'll never get a college scholarship. So what I'm saying, all the black community, we funnel all our resources. And yes, if you get them there in that facility, because I just say, just like college, you get kids to college, yes, you can give them something else though. But how many kids make it to that level with their talent? So I think what
I don't think it's about that though.
I think my whole point of what I'm trying to say is that it got to be another route, and we constantly see the same thing. Kevin Durant got a little a facility out here, but what they don't tell you is the kids got to get selected for that. So it's sort of protocol that, you know what I'm saying, in that area, and you know what I'm saying, they looking for these next athletes, and it's geared towards these next athletes. But what about the other kids? If you saying you for the community, you for the black community, then you're focusing all your resources on a small percentage. And then when it get down to it, only 1% of the whole United States will even make it in there. And now we got a European influence. So now let's be honest, that's even cracking down.
I have to agree with you, Logic. I do agree with JR that sports in the gyms should be used as a tool. However, when it comes to our black and brown boys, it's all geared towards athletics. I used to work for the largest black-owned tech incubator, where they were teaching young boys how to code, tech, poli-sci and things like that, and they couldn't get funded. But when Black Girl Code came out, they got $1.5 million from Google. So I do agree that there are not a lot of resources besides sports for our boys. However, I don't believe a lot of these athletes come in to professional sports wanting to be role models. They're trying to get to the end game, whatever that is, whether it's winning the championship, whether it's getting into college, whether it's making some money, whether it's buying their mama a house. And typically what happens is these companies look at the person with the most high market value. Then they create the whole imagery of being a role model and playing into it because it's money. And then when you have these young boys and they're throwing all these endorsements and money to be a role model, they do fall into it.
I agree with that. I think what it is just because of your marketability, you then have a platform. And what comes with that is everyone's now watching you. And so because everyone's watching you, because of what's in your contract, you have to behave a certain way, you have to dress a certain way, you have to say certain things. So it's like the point I made earlier, you are just always gonna be under scrutiny. So I don't think it's you wanting to be a role model. It's just because everyone's watching you now, all of a sudden you have to conform to some sort of standard. So it's like I was watching this one interview with Cardi B where she said, I don't want to be a role model. And it's like, it makes sense. It makes sense because I'm like, the music she makes and the stuff she says, it's not conducive to young kids. You don't let your kids listen to Cardi B, for example. So I think what makes an athlete a role model is just simply the platform in the business. It's not really them having to be a good example to anyone. It's just, yeah, just for the moolah, I guess.
All right, I'm gonna do this. I gotta ask a series of questions, right? Because see, I
Yeah.
did this all the time. Because see, I can give you a black excellent quiz, and I can give you a black celebrity quiz, and I think I did this on one platform. And you know which quiz that everybody passed?
The celebrity quiz, obviously.
Celebrity quiz.
Yeah.
Like, and it's funky. Is that if you really think about it, you ask anybody questions based on Black excellence, and then they will go, But they can tell you who Offset is. They can tell you his second baby mama. They can tell you who Kendrick Lamar's second album was. They can tell you how fast that Justin Ross ran in the 40 at the combine. And you got to realize this is something that we're conditioned to do. And then the media, and I'm not gonna go as far as say this next thing, but it's things out here. Let me condition a group of people to idolize and envy a small percentage that they might never reach, that they might never know anybody to reach. Let me condition. No other community is conditioned as such. And if you look at any other role models, if I said name me a Korean role model, name me an Asian role model, name me a Chinese role model, name me a Jewish role model, name me any role models in these communities, and you know what not come up? Athletes, entertainers. You won't get them.
Well, I would actually push back a little bit on that, Mr. Logic. I would say in terms of a pop culture reference, these other communities, they look at their own celebrities and their own, pop culture figures too. I mean, if you ask, a white girl who their role model is, they may say Taylor Swift, and they may not necessarily say the teacher up at the school or, their aunt who's a scientist. They're going to say Kim Kardashian, Taylor Swift, you know what I mean? People like that. Who's your celebrity crush? They may not have or their celebrity crush may not be someone of professional significance. Their celebrity crush is Justin Bieber. You know what I mean? So I think that is more of a, where we are currently in terms of just what kids value and what we see on television and what we see on the internet. A lot of times the things that we're seeing from these corporations, it's not necessarily substance, it's celebrity gossip and it's, branding and things like that. So I do think it's unique to the Black community because of our percentage compared to everyone else. But if you ask other kids these same questions, you might get similar answers in that it's not, people of substance and people who are moving the needle outside of the entertainment industry usually don't get that information until you're an adult. So, but I wonder, what is it outside of the on the court, on the field, or on stage that makes a personal role model in the first place? Is it just I want to make music like Kanye, or I want to be Kanye?
I gotta correct something you said. And I'm gonna fall back. I'm gonna go make my coffee. But look, no, you're incorrect. They do not look at them as role models. They identify as sex symbols, athletes. This is what they do. And it's in somebody brought a good example. Marilyn Monroe to the white community was not a role model. They will laugh her in the ground in the white community. She was a sex symbol. That was it. That was all. They look at the people for who they are and what they are, and they keep it there. They don't move it. You'll never see any white person saying Marilyn Monroe is a role model because they know it wasn't. You never see him say that, you know what? Elvis was a role model. You don't see them do that because they understand the way things work. You know what I'm saying? Because being African American, a lot of times when we had people that risen to success in America, it just so happens it was athletes, rappers, and all this kind of stuff like that. But we haven't reconditioned our mind to sit here and say, all right, well, yeah, we passed that point now. It's tech millionaires. You go to Atlanta, it's a whole lot of millionaires. So I'm just saying, we just gotta just understand and just open up to say, look, we're conditioning. Look at that. Somebody said Logic not using the N-word. Cause I'm with my brothers and sisters. This is not no, all right, I'm gone, man. All right.
Stay solid, Logic. Stay solid, baby. Stay on your square. Don't fight.
I agree with that comment, man. I think it depends on how you were raised, man. Like we always talk about, is rap music a bad influence on young Black kids, whatever, right? I was listening to NWA, Snoop Dogg in 1991. At no point did I think that I was about to go hit the corner and start serving or start doing anything NW, doing drive-bys because my father was at home, he beat my ass, right? So
I
you know
did
what I'm
though.
saying?
I did though.
Right. So
I was trying to shoot people.
right. You know, like so we can. I think the point of role models are only important to people who don't have them in the home. That's the most important thing you have to take away from. So if we as a community need Kevin Durant or Jay-Z or Kanye to raise our kids, we have a bigger problem than we already have to acknowledge.
And
Well,
let's look
like,
at Kevin
and I'm
Samuels that one time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we starved for role models, or is it just a concept? Is it an old person's concept in 2022? You know what I mean? Or like who's really moving the needle? Do kids even talk like that? I know my children are a little too young to look up at sports heroes or sports players as heroes. Maybe that's because they have me in their life, so they don't. All they see isn't just athletes and LeBron or whatever. But at the same time, I really don't even see that as a we like this person because of what they do on the court. LeBron gets the praise he gets because of the fact that he opened a school and he's giving out scholarships every year and all these other philanthropy and things that he does. He's got a program on HBO. He's, kind of fulfilling all these entrepreneurial roles. So I think that's why we look up to him versus, any other athlete who's just getting money and is just kind of out here. So, I mean, do we even pump on kids anymore?
well, I look at this, man. Listen to your kids and educate them. And the reason I say that is because if they say such and such an individual is what you consider a role model, then why not have a conversation? Okay, well, why is he your role model? Why do you look up to? Let that be a opportunity, a door for you to walk through and to learn your kids, to get to know your kids better. To learn what they like and what they don't like, and why is this guy your role? What about his man or this woman makes him your role model? And use that knowledge from there. I mean, to me, that's a great idea. I listen to my son. One of his favorite players, Steph Curry. Well, man, why is he your favorite player? Or Trey Young? Why is he your favorite player? So just different things like that. Let that be a reason. Now, I remember my son being in elementary. He writing a letter to me talking about, Daddy, you my role model. Man, do you know how good that make me feel as a man, and knowing that I'm influencing this young man and he sees me as a role model, and then there'll be times like, damn, this dude's an asshole. But I still gotta be his role model, even though he's an asshole. But you do what you gotta do. So let there be an educational point when you hear your son saying, oh, this rapper is my role model, or this basketball player, football player, or this individual, or this actor is my role model. Let that be an opportunity to educate on what makes them a role model. Why do you think they are? And if there's some negatives about them, educate them on that too. You don't want to do the things that he does or she does. Don't make those same mistakes and decisions.
But if our
And
kids are boy, I'm sorry. Go ahead, JR. I'm sorry. But if they do make a athlete their role model, is there anything wrong with getting inspiration in the fact that they may be a role model because of their dedication, their hard work, their teamwork, they're humble, they use their celebrity for impact? Just let's say that our kids say a certain somebody is their role model in sports. Is that bad?
No,
I
I
don't
don't think
think
so because, like I
that's
said, I'm gonna use it as an
necessarily a
opportunity to
bad
educate.
thing. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I just think that there is an absence of local role models. So all you have is what's being pushed in your face on TV. So you take these people and you hold them in high regard because you don't have anybody in your immediate environment, so you look at that as a role model where, for me, when I was growing up, I forgot who said it. My dad was my role model. You know what I mean? I was rolling around like my dad will whoop your dad's ass. That was my hero. He was a superhero. So there's an absence of that now. And you got to look at a lot of these people that they build an image around. They're kids themselves. They don't even know who they are. So by the time they reach an age where they mature and they realize the damage is already done. You know what I mean? You look at these Nickies. I know some of y'all probably saw the Nicki and Joe Budden's interview, and Nicki it's almost like you don't realize you're talking to men about having conversation about women you're not even addressing the damage that you've done to black women as a black woman. You know, understand what I'm saying? Like, so address that before you address men, you know, dealing with the women that you kind of created, that you were the role model of. Address them, talk to them differently, you know, because it's like, you know, they created, all these women are looking at you, they created a bunch of women that follow that lifestyle that you don't even live anymore, or you actually never lived, and they think that that's the right way. So when you have a local person that can have that discernment and show you what a role model should be versus what somebody's painting out to be a role model, you know, you live life a little different. You know, there's respect and there's admiration. I respect that work ethic. You know, that dude is at the gym 5 hours earlier than everybody else. You know, you can admire character traits and work ethic, but you know, you don't have to hold people on the pedestal.
Is there a kind of obligation on adults just overall to want to be role models? I feel like it's almost like it's a label that adults are trying to avoid. You know, they want to be able to make their money but not be responsible for anyone other than maybe their children. And again, I know that you should be responsible for your own children and you should not have to be responsible for other people's children. But when we're talking about role models, naturally more than just your family and children are going to use you as someone to emulate. So is that a role that we should want to have, or is it something, because I think Amber, you might have said it earlier, where, you know, an athlete gets into whatever they're doing, they may not necessarily want to be that person, but at the same time you would imagine that they recognize in society that we're lacking these people. So what is it about trying to be a role model that seems to be so hard or so bad? Or, you know, I mean, do we really want to be able to do our own thing and act how we want to act with no repercussions? Or, you know, what is it that makes it so bad?
You know, honestly, I think people just want to be human, right? Because guess what? As human beings, we're flawed. And if you look at, you know, I made this comment and I swear people read me to filth. They even called me Candace 2.0 when I referenced Martin Luther King. He a great man, an advocator, you know, but he was flawed. He, you know, was cheating on his wife with white women. Every hero's journey falls from grace. Not villainizing them, but if people are allowed to be human, which means they're going to make decisions. I'm not even going to say mistakes, because me making a life choice for myself may be deemed as a mistake for you, but I'm living my life. I teach my son to pay attention to the get up when everybody falls from grace. How do they get up? If you look at every leader, every athlete, every celebrity, they fall from grace by a decision. And typically we pay attention to how they get back up.
And what about the rest of you guys? You know, is it something that we should want to be? You know, I have aspirations to be, you know, like a community person. You know, I'll coach all my son's teams. I'll send them to, you know, the Cub Scouts just so people can see my face there. Send them to martial arts just so they can see my face there. Just so everybody can kind of know what's going on. Because that's something I want to do. It's not something that I have to do. So is that something that people largely try to get away from? You know, Hank, I know you have older children, so I imagine you've had various experiences just being an adult among other kids and teammates, families, and whatnot. You know, and Amber, I know you have older son, and so, you know, their friends come around you, or other parents may come around you. You know, do you feel any obligation at all to represent anything outside of just being that kid's parent?
Oh yeah, as a black male, and I deal with a lot of, you know, more black kids. I always try to have conversations with them boys. I always try to drop some gems, teach them knowledge, because that's my obligation. You know what I'm saying? That is my obligation to these young men, man. Man, I'm all for black people, and I want to see us win. And I especially have a soft spot for them boys, man, because I was that young boy that was struggling with getting what some of the things that these kids are getting now. I didn't have the opportunity. So anytime I could have conversations with them, I do. I mean, them tough, hard conversations, man. I have no problem with them at all. They know he ain't gonna keep it all the way real. Yes, sir, I am. Because I want to see y'all guys win. I want to see y'all be
Yes,
successful
sir.
in whatever y'all do. So yeah, that's a must that I have a conversation with them boys.
Did that come with time? I imagine you might not have thought that way at 20, 22, 23 versus where, you were now. So what was the change? Was it you having your own children that got you there?
Man, it started probably when I went to college. You know what I'm saying? Just to seeing the opportunities that my athletic ability presented me, the opportunity to get a college scholarship to play ball and to do all that. And so from there, I want to teach somebody, hey guys, guys that's still in high school, guys, y'all can get scholarship, man. Money's out here, man. Get that scholarship, get that opportunity, get the opportunity to see it everything. So I think it started there when I was in college, probably about, like I said, about 1920 is when I start to feel that passion to do that. So
Nice. I think it's kind of tough though, being a coach. Avon, I know you said you coached a little bit here and there. Is there do the kids respond to some of the adults at our age now, or
Yeah. And, they actually crave you to be normal. Like Amber says, just be a normal human being. Be yourself, and that's the best time to be a role model is when there are times of adversity or times when they're looking to see how you react to things going wrong. That's the time to be a role model. Perfect example of this, right? About 5 years ago, when I was dating a young lady who did not like the way things were going, and this chick was blowing up my phone while I'm coaching. And I'm like, and so I took the call at halftime, and a couple of the boys had snuck into the little locker room where I was at while I'm taking the call. And everything in me wanted to cuss this girl out, but it was like, I can't do this in front of these young men because, they're going to take this back to their relationships or whatever. So the human part of me wanted to be ignorant, but sometimes you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta, be the better example, but they catch you in human moments, man. That's when you have the most impact is when you catch them or they catch you in human moments and you hold them accountable, and they'll often hold you accountable, which is a really interesting point about working with young people is that young people remember what you say. If you say, I don't do this, I do that, I wouldn't do this, and then they catch you, you lose them forever. So you have to be very conscious of how you carry yourself, what you say, because they're going to expect you to back it up. Um, Kids will listen. They actually crave adult guidance, even though as teenagers will tell you they fight it, but they need it so bad and they crave it because a lot of them don't have it at home, man. So for the kids that do need those role models, they are definitely listening, man. I got kids that I coached 6-7 years ago that are grown ass men themselves now who still hit me up for advice because they know I'm going to give them a human response.
Do they look to you think more so than the I Am Pivot and the I Am Athlete podcast, and in terms of getting game? Is there any way to know which one has more impact on
I think they
12-year-old?
I think they, like most people, they take difference, and I think this is the best way to make decisions, quite frankly. But I think like most people, they'll get an opinion from one person, then they'll get an opinion from somebody else they respect and kind of form their own opinion based on different inputs that they get from different people. I had a kid a couple of years ago who just could not decide on how he wanted to deal with a young lady or whatever, right? And he kept going to his mama about the situation, and he finally came to me, and I said, "Look, man, this little girl is running you ragged, man. Why don't you let her go?" But he decided to stay with her because his mom told him to be more patient with her. So I think that they take information and they assess it and they say, I got it from here, I got it from here, and I got it from here. And they make the best decision with the information they have. The worst among our kids and the worst among our young people are the ones that don't get any information to make decisions on. They're basing it on the little brain thing they got going on up here. They making all their decisions based on their irrational thinking going on. That's the ones we got to watch out for, who can't take that information. They can't take input. They can't take criticism. They can't take strong guidance without recoiling from it or not wanting to hear. Those are the ones we can't reach.
And Jay, I don't know if you have children or not. So if you don't, do you feel any pull from your immediate community around you to be any kind of way? Or, are you really just kind of focused on yourself? When you don't have kids, where does that put you?
I don't have kids, but I've worked with kids. Like, I love kids. I work with them in terms of like group home settings, coming out of jail, getting transferred back into kind of real life. I'm kind of like the intermediary, or was the intermediary when I was in that job field. And, they watch what you do. You could say a lot. They watch what you do, and those quiet moments where you think you about to go get some time to yourself, they're watching. Or let me see what he doing. Like Avon said, let me hear what he about to tell this person on the phone. And if they see you barking, they're gonna hold that in their pocket. And whenever there's, some adversity that comes up and you call yourself chastising them about their behavior, they're gonna pull your card and be like, well, bro, remember when you stepped outside to smoke a cigarette? Or remember when you stepped outside to, they watch you like a hawk. So everything has to be your actions, man. You have to really be mindful when you're around. Your actions have to follow what you're telling them, or you're losing credibility each time. And once you lose that, man, they're gonna run over you.
So are things getting better, y'all think? Again, those of us with children, I know how we can kind of do, but sometimes you kind of lose sight of the world in general, the overall perspective. Are things getting better where kids have a lot more variety to look up to? Or is it a lot like the 90s where we still got, LeBron and Mike Trout and Patrick Kane and, Cristiano Ronaldo, and that's about it between them 4 or 5 sports? We just hoping that everybody kind of stays out of trouble, give them something to do during their childhood, tell them you could be the next, whoever it is, and then just kind of hope that appeases them. Or is it really getting variety where they actually do have business people and scientists and doctors and whatnot to really look up to?
Well, here they're cartoon. They were cartoon characters back in the '80s, if you think about it. Michael Jordan, Wayne, they literally had a cartoon.
Yeah,
It was
right, like Bo Jackson.
Like athletes
That
were
was
literally like cartoon characters back in the 80s and 90s, because we didn't know anything about it because there was no social media. We didn't know if Michael Jordan liked to run around in the late 80s and behind Juanita, which I'm probably sure he did. And, we didn't know, like, if, Walter Payton was, maybe out here cussing out people on the low or whatever. All we knew was his affable, smiley Walter Payton. Social media didn't allow us to know these people this well. Like, we didn't even, perfect example of this, right? There's a guy that played for the Blackhawks here, Bobby Hull or whatever. No, is it Bobby Hull? Which one is his? Brett Hull is the son. Bobby Hull was a open racist and beat on his wife for years. I mean, decades. And he was a brand ambassador to the Blackhawks up until about 5 years ago. And the only reason we found out this dude was a bad dude was because of social media. And people, those stories started to get to social media, and they started to start circulating. Now all of a sudden, Bobby Hull doesn't work for the Blackhawks anymore. The athletes can't be these cartoon characters to our kids anymore because they know them too damn well. My kid knows KD has a burner account. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not getting the real KD half the time.
Man, so where does that leave us then? Like, where does it leave? I guess it falls then back, as it probably should have, falls back on the household and the parenting. Where does that leave the mystique that athletes may have once had? Are we better off with them just completely not being those people, or is it just case by case? And should we expect, a LeBron James to do all that he does, or should he just, is a guy like Joe Johnson, he just made his money quietly in the NBA, played nearly 15, 20 years or something like that. And we never knew not one cause he did, not one political take. We never saw him at no marches All we know is Joe Johnson was a great basketball player. He put in the work. He was dedicated. He was not a locker room disruption. So someone might say, I want to be like Joe Johnson, a basketball player one day, even though he really didn't do anything. So, I mean, are we going to get closer to that now where it's just niche, where it's sports and nothing else? Or is it still going to be, I want to be LeBron when I get older?
Ooh, can I answer that? Oh, go ahead, Jay. Go ahead, Jay. Even though, hey, I'm sorry, lady spilled cough on me, man. I was like, man, I'm sorry. All right, go ahead.
Man, you been spilling coffee. You spilled coffee yesterday, Logic. You got the shakes, man.
That's a cold word, man. Coffee's a
I
cold
said,
word.
lady spilled cough on me. It's not a Deshaun Watson code word.
You're not holding yourself accountable. Okay, I see what this is. Gotcha, brother.
Nah, damn, I forgot what I was about to say. In terms of us being able to see more, I mean, I think that's good because you need to see, that nobody's perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. I think when you build these people up, and like the people you were mentioning, Michael Jordan, like they were very lucky because Michael Jordan's name still holds the mystique that it does today because we didn't see him on camera. We didn't see him in casinos slapping people. We didn't see him in practice strangling Steve Kerr. You know what I mean? We didn't see him pulling up to the damn brothel like, yo, y'all get in. You know what I mean? We didn't see all that stuff. So his name still, whereas today you see the good and the bad. And I mean, I think that's a good thing because you build people up, in society, we build people up so that we can tear them down, so now you have this unfallible character and everybody gets to throw stones on the way down, so I think seeing the imperfections is a benefit. I think it's a benefit to seeing that.
I got to push back on that. Look, and I don't even want to push back because it's a sports show, right? But think about our conversation, how it goes. When we talk about sports as Black people, you see it dominates our culture. Their activity dominates the conversation, and we really don't talk about sports. We more or less talking about Deshaun Watson, you know what I'm saying, doing what he doing, Russell Westbrook doing what he doing, LeBron James. That's the problem when we have it, because the other coaches sit down, they talk about sports. Guess what they talk about? Sports. Because it don't dominate their culture like it dominate ours. And I think that we need to separate that. We need to sit here and separate these athletes from our household. You know what I'm saying? I think Avon brought up a good point that, you know what I'm saying, when his kids think about KD, they think about the burner phone. You know what I'm saying? When they think about Kobe, they're going to think about what? You know what I'm saying? Him messing with a girl in Colorado. See, we get so attached and invested in these people because they are our role models that they don't even qualify to be them. And I'm just saying until we just say, hey, look, you know what? I would rather, that's why I put Team Lapeef up here. Because JR will qualify to be more of a role model than any of these other people because he'll actually put back into the environment that he's taken from. These people don't put back in nothing. LeBron James is focused on selling his liquor. LeBron James is doing all that stuff, and people try to give him credit for all this stuff that he do, whatever. No, y'all better read the tax code. Y'all better read the tax code because you got to realize this: if they can put in 30,000 and they'll get credit their taxes for 50. So it's not like they these generous people that's doing that. I mean, these athletes are trying to take care of them, their family, and I don't have no hard feelings for that. You know what I'm saying? I figure they should do that, but I think it's our fault because we hold them to that standard, and we need to get off that titty. No, my bad. I didn't mean to say that. Can I say that?
You mean the bosom? They need to get off the
progress,
bosom.
Mr. Logic. You're making progress, okay? We can't expect you to do it all cold turkey.
Yeah, so we know it's not going to be an overnight process, but you getting there. Only one N word, my dude.
So, but now, Amber, I love to throw it to you to get a mom's perspective because, I know that you've spoken before about how your son will be living with his dad soon. And so is there a way to even have any real impact, from mom to son or dad to daughter? I don't know if any of you gentlemen have daughters, but, do you feel the difference from when he was younger having an impact on who he's emulating versus now when he's starting to have his own thoughts and whatnot?
So my son may not be the best example because, I'm blessed that photography has afforded me to be in a lot of different rooms. Like I said, I was the media director for one of the largest Black-owned tech incubator. So I was covering press conferences. Uh, there were DJ classes, tech classes, and because he was my son, he had access to it, and he did not mesh well with it. There's a boxing facility. I was covering boxing and they offered my son free boxing classes. He didn't mesh well with it. I was able to get him free on a football course. He didn't mesh well with it. He said, Mom, I want to be a gamer like this white boy named Chris something. He wants a camera. He wants to be a YouTuber, playing games and making money. That's where he still want to be at the age of 13 right now. And so his dad is like, no, you're going to live with me. You're going to join a sport. You're going to go to school, sports, and that's it. And so, his dad is believing that he will learn more teamwork, ability, being shaped by being in sports. So I think it's just different between a mother's perspective and a dad's perspective, or maybe my son is just different.
No, my son will be 12 years old on St. Patrick's Day this week, and he's the same way. His idol isn't Derrick Rose, is Zach Levine. His idol is Corey Kenshin of all people, man. Like, I don't even know if anybody on the panel knows who that is, bro.
He's a gamer.
Yeah, he's a gamer. This dude literally just plays games and yells at the TV.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know who you're talking about now. Yeah, he screams a lot, right?
$12 million, bro. That dude is worth $12 million. So,
okay, so then isn't it on us to recognize that we were just talking about ask our children, talk to the kids and then listen to them. You know what I mean? We should really try to tap into what they're trying to do and then kind of create or manifest an environment where they can flourish within that. You know what I mean? We always try to preach, find something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Well, in these kind of cases where they already have role models that they look towards, is it on us to maybe try to steer them in a direction that we think is better for them because we have more life experience? Or should we just listen to them and try to, be an enabler and something that they want to do? Because it's hard to balance trying to look out for them as in a friendly aspect versus us forcing them to do what we think is best for them.
I'm gonna be honest, and I know right now I'm being a hypocrite because I was raised by my dad. Sent to all girl private school. If he had his way, it would have been safe if, when I went to college, got a office job, secretary, whatever. And when I decided to pick up the camera 7 years ago, everybody was against it. But I followed my bliss. And so when I think about my son, the reason, I think we kind of talked about this about allowing him to explore gaming. I've experienced with people in tech development, they're socially awkward because they're behind a computer all the time. And I don't want to allow my son just to focus on that. When I remember being a kid, I mean, we would get in trouble because we wouldn't come inside when the lights come on, the street lights come on. And, I was in sports and I was in activities and just going outside and walking to the corner store. I want my son to experience that. I know this time is different, but I want my son to experience that before, okay, you want to be a gamer. I have all the equipment. I have all the photography equipment, but I don't want him to do that just yet. And I know that's me being a hypocrite.
Well, that's as an older parent, that's going to be something hard, baby. Because if it's something he loves, man, when they love it, ain't nothing you could say or do going to turn him away. And so it's one of those things you have to get your kids involved in, say, sports activities as early as possible, and just let them try everything. I mean, what I did with my son, I let him try baseball, soccer, basketball, football, and he didn't take the baseball. He just didn't like playing in the outfield, wearing that hat all day and being in the sun. He didn't like soccer because you staying in the sun and just running around all day. See, he didn't like that. Now he took on the football. He did that all the way up till he was in middle school. But I wanted him to do that just to create a level of toughness with him. So I told him, I just need 2 years out of it. Y'all buy this new equipment. I just need 2 years. Give me 2 years. And that's it. Well, he ended up playing, like I said, end up 5 years he ended up playing. so I was cool. But he loved basketball,
Mm-hmm.
and once I seen that, I really horned in on it and started getting him the training, get him the proper things he needed to do to be the best basketball you can. But when it's something they love, man, it's going to be really hard. So if he loves these games, man, you might just have to go on and accept it and
Because
embrace it.
there's camps, and as far as the social aspect goes, there's like you could send him to like a tech camp. You know what I mean? You could get him into an industry that he likes. He's gonna find other like-minded people like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there got to be a gaming festivals or some kind of gathering place. I mean, they got all these, they got gaming tournaments on ESPN where they're all sitting next to each other. So it seems like a social event. You just gotta find where those events are happening. He might not have took to, some of the sports because those aren't like-minded people, which is why he didn't mesh to it. He really didn't have anybody to really talk to. Mm-hmm. So if they're not relating behind the activity, then they're definitely not going to relate, they're definitely not going to want to talk to each other. So it could just be a case where, you got to find that industry that he likes, that niche that he likes, and then push him into various activities within that thing. If you're worried about him making friends and being able to speak to people in person and standing up straight and things like that. I think that there's different ways to get there without forcing him to be into one thing or the other. Because when it comes to a role model, even as part of this conversation, we may think, we may tell them, look up to this person, or this is the person that's doing it the right way, when they have their own idea of who that person should be. And so, just kind of picking y'all brains in terms of how y'all deal with that, because I always wonder if that's something that you have a direct impact on and how kids respond today versus just letting them come up with their own people and then you encouraging that in them.
So are you guys against the idea of when he goes with his dad was like, my son chose football as a sport because he needs to get more physically active. But his dad is like, for 8th grade right now, you're just going to school and football. Are you guys against it? Do you think that's a right approach?
No.
Well, I look at it's not. It can't hurt to try. I mean, you see how he responds. That's all you can do is test the waters. Go out there and test the waters. I didn't start playing contact football until I was in middle school anyway.
Okay.
And my first year playing was 8th grade. So I mean, who knows? I mean, he may take it on. He developed some friendships, and sometimes if you have some peers, they'll keep you involved. Sometimes that's going to be your best friend is his peers. If they're involved and they like it, and yet you find that right peer who likes football and like video games too, that'll be perfect for him. Okay. So now he'll have a reason to maybe want to get more involved and to stay around, because I like hanging out with this friend. He does like football, which I don't like, but he likes video games. So maybe that, it might encourage him and tweak his interest even more. So it bring him in. So you never know, but it can't hurt to try.
Let me say this though, right? I don't mean to be pushing back like this though, but no, I'm not pushing back. I'm giving a different perspective. So think about this, right? It was a study done on kid gamers. First off, the parents did not select them to be gamers. They was already doing it. The parents just said, you know what, you're going to do it. You might as well get monetized for it. So that's a big difference. Like it literally a big difference when they see these other parents is not forcing these kids to do nothing. They just simply say you will do something. Now, I can bring this up. My daughter got into cooking, and then it started in Korea. And it was one of them things that she picked up and she just ran with. It was nothing I forced her to do. I never forced my son to say, hey, look, you know what? You got to play baseball. You got to play sports. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. Because at the end of the day, if I just sit here, and I think we had this debate on the Lapeef show about demanding your kids to do something. No, you just put the resources around him. You let them make their own decisions. And then now that would be powerful for them to make their own decision. If they like gaming, you sit back and analyze it and say, okay, you spend 4 hours or 8 hours on a weekend gaming. All right, I'm going to get you a Twitch channel. I'm going to invest a little money in it. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to game with a purpose.
But isn't there some benefits? And I'm just asking you fellas, isn't there, and I used to play sports. I used to run track and play basketball. Isn't there just some benefits in being in the sports at that age that they learn about, like you said, teamwork, physical attributes and things like that you can't get from gaming, just gaming alone.
Absolutely. I mean, you're getting teammates, you're getting conflict resolution, you're dealing with failure. You know what I mean? There's some immediate lessons that you're learning in the midst of a game. You're learning hard work through practice. You're learning how to show up to stuff on time in terms of being on time for practice. So I think the hesitation is to make him do one thing and then take away the other thing. If anything, you should do both. If he can do both, there's got to be maybe an agreement like, okay, you got to make sure you're putting your best foot forward in all these areas. And if you're doing that, you can game all you want to, because the best foot forward in these other areas are going to fulfill, the social aspect you might be worried about, him at least trying his best. He may not be great at football, but if he's trying his best, that'll show up on the field, and that's all you can ask for. And so if he's doing all these things, then yeah, you would imagine that you may not have an issue with it, in addition to all his schoolwork being done, of course, all the, more prioritized things. And once all those things are done, then yeah, you can have at it with the video game. And then if that's something he loves, he'll do whatever he has to do to be able to get to those things. So it's just the boundaries that you set, but definitely I would say let him do both, because you don't want to, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're keeping him from doing something that they really want to do, because then that's how you build up resentment. Or, in a couple of years when maybe some of his peers pass him in terms of the gaming ability, he might look back and say, I could be like this dude. He's, 14 and he got a $50,000 contract from XYZ company doing this, and I can't do it because he's better than me, because he's ranked higher than me. So, it could be a laundry list of issues that could come up. I would say let him do both and just see how it plays out for him.
No,
Yeah, for sure.
Find out
So
how
he can tell
good
his
he
dad
is.
how to raise his son, of course.
Yeah. Your point you made, right? You just ran in my wheelhouse. All them skills you said you'll learn, you could learn it and even better in gaming, leadership.
I mean, I play Call of Duty, so communication, leadership, bravery.
Yeah.
Some of them,
Make
some
sure
of the
he
times,
is a Leroy Jenkins.
Look, watch this.
Be Leroy Jenkins out here, man.
I'll say it's just that we want to force our kids into sports. I mean, we gotta sit here and say we want to force our kids through that needle hole.
So why do you think that is, Logic? That as a Black community, for our boys specifically, is like either sports or something else. Why are we forcing our kids into sports? Like I'm conditioned to think that.
That's what our culture gauge as success, because that's what we recognize as success. Like I said, we won't recognize JR as a role model in our community. You know what I'm saying? And you can sit here and say what the work the man doing, you know what I'm saying? Damn near borderline genius. But we won't recognize that. We'll give somebody who we don't know, have no impact over, cannot talk to. Oh, JR, we can't hear you, JR. Yeah. That you have no contact to, right? You would give him that power to control the dynamics of your kids and to see him push it. Because like I said, if you want to be honest, right? It's one video game, probably one of the most popular video games in the world, that is not popular in the Black community. The Black community, like I said, sports game, Madden, 2K, them the games, right?
Yeah, the rest of the world playing Fortnite, and we online arguing at night playing 2K. So that's
the rest of the world ain't playing Fortnite. The rest of the world is playing League of Legends.
But also, I'm sorry.
Hold on, Ms. Amber. I got to make this point, right?
Okay.
I was in Korea. One of my Kotusas, Korean aquatees to the U.S. Army, had said, "Hey, damn, I'm about to say my real name." They said, "Mr. Logic, hey, look, I want you to come out and chill with me, right?" I went to a stadium the size of any major stadium I saw in America, and it was filled to the rim with yelling fans playing a game called League of Legends. And I couldn't understand it. I said, hold on, something's not right. And I asked them, I said, so this is a video game. Why do you got people in here watching? You know what I'm saying? You got yelling, they screaming, Chove. I said, who is Chove? And then now I said, and I wasn't going to be black. I got home that day and I paid for the game and I downloaded it. And it is so much techniques to it. It's so much strategy. It's timing. It's so many different things that these kids, these games actually been proven to make these kids better people, make these kids better strategists. And it's way more benefit nowadays to making a better person through these games than what we say. And it's not what we say, it's what society tell us that our kids have to go through to do this. Besides the exercise benefit, the other options outweigh it for her. And then we just always stuck in that because we're programmed to sit here and think, hey, you got a little boy? He must play football or basketball. Oh, you got a little girl? Yeah, she must be a cheerleader or run track. We're conditioned to do that, and we never want to break these trends. And then we'll still try to fund our kids, like I said, through that little needle hole, where the success rate, you can have a higher success rate than being a black gamer.
I mean, the second Space Jam movie was based around that whole plot where LeBron was trying to get his son to be a basketball player, and all his son wanted to do was be like a tech person. And I mean, at the end, he kind of, there was an implication that he could do both. He took his basketball with him into the tech camp. So, it seems like something that could be changing, but at the same time, I mean, yeah, if you have a son who's 14 and he's already 6'3", first thing somebody's going to say, oh, he's going to be playing basketball. He's going to be playing football.
I mean, literally every coach, literally when people see my son, they're like, oh, I know he's playing football, or I know I'm going to get him on my team. Look at his thighs. Look at his back. I mean, like literally assessing him already. And so it's already programmed in me. Like, am I doing something wrong because I don't have him in football? Is because he potentially miss opportunity for a scholarship for college. Like, it's already in my head.
The scholarships for gaming.
Hey, like I said, once they started offering scholarships for gaming, I have no more problems with it. None at all. So, but I'm just trying to figure out, is Tecmo Bowl, is that part of the gaming world? Because hey, I'm ready to power on, baby.
Bo Jackson, you cannot use the Raiders, dog.
That's fine. I'm use the 49ers. I'm using the 49ers.
Bring that back.
If he got a Nintendo Switch, yes, you can play Tecmo Bowl and you can download it, and I will bust your head.
Well, first of all, I don't have a Nintendo Switch, but I'm gonna show you what I do have.
Fade away.
Gaming Network. I'm with it again. We can expand, JR. I know you listening. Y'all can get a Lapeef gaming tournament. You know what I mean? And it'd be some old school games just to show the value that not everything has to be sports related in the traditional sense. So, but I mean, Amber, I feel like that's that's going to be a challenge for you. Again, I have young children, so I'm not there yet. But just listening to, he got the old school game. You still got to blow on the games with that, right?
Hey, I'm all head to the heart, baby.
Look,
do you remember the time when we fell in love?
Do you remember?
Bruh, you need to get you a Switch. You can get them same games. You can download them, and I can bust your head, and I can record it and send it to JR. And I say, my brother Hink, man, I say nothing to me because I would let him get Bo Jackson, and I get running lot and smash his head in.
hey,
I got you, baby. I got you. I might invest.
Disingenuous.
I got to broadcast the game live. Y'all got to play each other and broadcast it live.
I think
going head to head.
One thing I think I could add to the conversation on this one is very important is that we have to be good examples for our kids, right? So my son, he's lukewarm to basketball. And I think the only reason why he feels like he has to give basketball any attention is because he's black, But the sport that he seems to really be gravitating to right now is football, because I play football. I still go out here at 42 years old, put my cleats on and go running around. And he sees that. He sees dad going out here, slapping on some cleats, running some routes. You know what I'm saying? Being a mediocre athlete every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? And so they're offering flag football at his school. And he was like, look, man, I need some cleats. I need some receivers gloves. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I got you, But because he knows those things, because he's seen me do it. If we don't want our kids to sit around and be on the game and sit around and be on the phone all day, we need to not do it ourselves. Like, So I'm co-parenting right now. My child's mother and his stepdad, they are tech people. They work in IT, so they're just on computers all day, and that's all he wants to do is sit around and game and watch anime all day because that's what his mama and his stepdaddy do. You know. So when he's with me, he sees me being outside, he sees me being active, and he's more likely to gravitate towards that when he's with me. Our kids are a reflection of us, regardless of how we want to, spin it. If you are outside, if you, I don't care how old you are, man. If you are 35, 45 years old and you go to the court a couple of times a week, get some shots up, your kid gonna want to go too, man. They have to see you doing these things to be interested in them. If you sit around and roll blunts all damn day and play Madden, that's what they gonna do. That's exactly what they gonna do, man. So I think you have to, be the best example for your kids. If your kid is overweight, are you overweight? You know what I mean? If your kid, I know people right now who got kids who they go to the gym 6 times a week and they putting up weight and they got 6, 7, 8 grade kids and they're getting their bench and they squat on too. Your kids are a reflection of you. If you are stagnant, your kids will be stagnant. If you are active, your kids will be active.
Hey, how old is your son?
It'll be 12 on St. Patrick's Day, baby.
I'm telling you, man. If just listen to Mr. Logic, right? Buy that young boy a PC and download League of Legends on there.
He got it. He got it already, bro.
All right, then.
He's,
all right, well.
like, no, he hardcore. Look, I had my come to Jesus meeting last weekend, dog. My son lit me up in Halo. I thought I was one of the flyest Halo players that the world had ever seen, and my son tagged me like I was just some rando bum on the internet. And I was in my feelings, dog. I'm like, he is really tearing me up in this, bro. And
Hey, was you mad like he beat you in one-on-one on the basketball court?
Man, dog, he got to the hey, I don't know if anybody plays Halo, but this man had enough. He was teabagging me. He was teabagging me, dog. And I said, okay, you know what? If I go upside his head, his mama is really gonna have a problem with me. But this dude is not gonna teabag me like this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hello, motherfucker.
He got one of them like 8, 9, 10 kill streaks. I felt like it was like 2009 again. I'm about to start yelling at random kids on the internet, dog. Like, if you played them first person shooters and you an adult, them little 8, 9, 10-year-old kids is smacking you. You be wanting to go through the TV and grab them kills. Like,
that's why I had to hop off of that live, bro.
I'm gonna shoot some game at you, right? So what I do with my kids is I assign them projects for extra money. So this my son's last project. So his last project was, you probably can see it though. His last project that he did research, he had to do analytical data and he had to present it to me and he had to show me what's the effect of classical music that plays on plants. And then when he saw it, you see this one right here? This is a plant that had no classical music. This one right here had 30 minutes a day. This one right here had an hour a day. So all I'm saying is for us, yes, our kids will be in that wheelhouse because we don't challenge them at all. We let them sit here and we go, and if we challenge them, we make them do the data. We present it now and we get incentives for that. You know what my son do all the time? He actually just start growing plants to see what different things he can add to it, that how it can affect the plant. So it's something that, like I said, we don't do it enough because, like, trust me, I'm conditioning to it too, right? I just had some mentors that really wasn't black in my life that actually I saw different things, how they raised their kids, how they did different things. I had a Iraqi guy that showed me to do a random fact of the day with my kids. And it just try them. Just try a random fact of the day. And you'll be surprised at the amount of information that you know that you can carry on conversation with just anybody. You know what I'm saying? My kids see me a random fact of the day the other day that was saying that, Dad, stop signs wasn't always red. I said, what? Research it. Stop signs used to be yellow. And it's random facts of the day. So you do these things for your kids. you will become that role model yourself. I can persuade them to be role models or whatever. And I just sit back and let my kids think. And at the end of the day, they would think that they decide everything, but all they did was follow their dad lead. And it's things that we can do to get them off of LeBron James, Ja Morant. And I love it that my son don't even know who Ja Morant is. But I guarantee you this. He can tell you the lead scientist down in a TDAC in Quantico, Virginia. It's about what we present to our kids to do that. Oh, look at that. See, hey, no, see, don't listen to Mr. Logic. Fact check me.
I never knew that. Yeah, that's crazy. I never knew that.
And that's a good point. I mean,
you gotta lead
challenging
from the
kids,
front.
that's real talker. That's
You
real
have to
jam.
lead from the front. Amber was talking about her son's father. You know, well, you gonna go to school and play football? Is he in school? Has he completed his degree? Does he go to the gym 5-6 days a week and keep his body together? He gonna only lead. We got to lead from the front. You know what I mean? What I look like right now, be real with the audience right now. When I play flag football, I'm usually about 210, 205. Your boy is about 240 right now. The season's in 3 weeks. I got some work to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of them things where I can't tell my son, hey man, we got to get out here. You know, you got to get out here and go catch these passes, and I won't go do it myself. You know what I mean? You got to get a little big, a little stronger, but I'm not taking him to the gym with me. I would say for Amber, it's like if he's not leading from the front, he's going to tune him out. If he wants his son to be a football player, he needs to be in the gym with him, putting that work in.
My concern, because he is self-conscious about his weight, because that's the first thing kids say is calling him fat and stuff like that. So we actually go to the gym together, me and my son, but it's me and my son, I think it'd be more of an impact if that was with his dad. My dad is now taking him to the gym more. I know it's a little bit more impactful when he hears it from a guy. You don't want to be with his mother 24/7. He already lives with me. So I definitely agree with you, Aiden.
Yeah, I think it was a great discussion here. I think the great takeaway, we kind of landed on it, that when it comes to role models, it really does start in the home. And I think that American culture is realizing left and right that everything that we want our kids to be, we have to mirror that, and we have to be the ones that are enabling that. So whether it's Logic given a real creative project like that to his children,
that Logic.
Yeah, or just getting up, you want your kid to get up at 5 a.m. That means you need to be up at 4:30 a.m. waking them up. And so I think that that kind of mindset is going to take us real far, to where we don't even need Kevin Durant to be the guy that has to come out and say something, or any athlete of any sport to be the person that's leading, because we're the ones who are leading. So that way the athletes could just be another voice that's enforcing what we're saying versus the other way around. So any last word on any of that before we toss it back to JR?
No, thank y'all for having me, man. This. Hey, you know what? I don't think I used the N-word one time on here.
You have it.
Right? Yes. Can we give this man a round of applause again, please? Thank you.
It's not bad.
I'm gonna keep pushing the narrative, baby. We're gonna get you there, baby.
Go ahead. Let me see your plans. But all right, it's what we got to realize is that just a side note is y'all actually are role models to me too. You know what I'm saying? I don't know y'all ages or whatever, but I can take little bits and pieces from y'all. So I think that's the bigger picture of it to role models. You know what I'm saying? Just take little things. You know what I'm saying? And I do this all the time. I listen, and I listen to everything that somebody say, even though it's hard sometimes because I can use it against them easily. But I listen to what they say, and I try to nitpick, and I try to take little things out here. And if you take anything from today's show, you know what I'm saying, and you're in the audience, you know what I'm saying, take things to make you a role model. You know what I'm saying? That's you have the most influence over your kids. So, and at a young age, take the most time to make yourself a role model. And whether you're doing it in projects, whether you're doing it in playing games, whether you're doing it in fun facts, it's a lot of different ways to engage your child mind. And then you will establish that dominant factor in that child life as a role model.
All right, y'all. We definitely appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you guys tune in to Sage Talk. I do got that link pinned to the top of the chat right there. So go ahead and click that link, set the reminder, get yourself a seat, go ahead and take a little break and come back for some more great content. Make sure you guys call in too. This is happening at 2 p.m. That's Sage Talk with Lee. And make sure you guys go ahead and come out to Houston April 23rd. We'll have our first live show, man. It's going to be a great weekend. So come out, man. Have fun. Kick it with us. Meet us in person. You know, see what all the greatness is about. See why we the greatest network ever. I appreciate y'all.
All right, y'all. Be blessed.
All right, y'all. I'm about to go hit the
right
street.
on now.
I'm about to go outside.
Right.
Boy, I tell you,
Avon, go get
the
some
logic,
water.
you ain't shit.
Hey, look, I'm about to get out here. All right, man.
All right,
Hey, put the ones in the chat for the Pookies.
My dog.
Sage Talk with Lee, 2 p.m. Click that link, pin to the top of the chat. Appreciate y'all. Hit the like button on the way out, y'all. See y'all over there on Sage Talk, 2 p.m. Let's go. Appreciate you dedicated to my children for that like. Swear we missed you. I seen you, brother. Hit that like button for the Lapeef Network, y'all. Let's go. Subscribe to the channel.